Okay, great. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you can hear me okay. Please let me know if you cannot hear me so that we can make adjustments. But thank you very much for joining us today. Welcome to the Illinois Works Bidders Conference. Today we have some very important information to share with you. Um, Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. Over the next 3 hours, you will have an opportunity to participate and learn about the Illinois Works program and the pre-apprenticeship program NOFO we have put out there today. We will have a break about the middle of the webinar. This is a 3-hour webinar, so right about in the middle, we'll have a 5-minute break, so you have an opportunity to um, take a break from all the content that we're going to be presenting today. My name is Norman Ruano, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Office of Illinois Works. We have been working at this program now for about 5 years. I've had an opportunity to implement this program from the very beginning, and I have been doing workforce development for about 25 years. Not so much at the state. I've spent 20 years doing workforce development on the ground at colleges and universities, and have put together a lot of programming and serving a lot of these populations that this program focuses on. With me today is a team of Illinois Works professionals that are here to deliver, along with me, deliver the content of this webinar. The first person is Edwin Sanchez, who's here. Today, he's a programmatic grant manager and will be delivering some of the content today. Edwin, if you could please say hi to the audience.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Edwin Sanchez. Pleasure to be part of this webinar. Look forward to chatting with you in a bit.
Thank you, Edwin. With us today is also Monica Pruitt, who's another programmatic grant manager who will also be delivering some of the content. Monica, if you could please say hi to our
Absolutely.
audience.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Monica Pruitt, and happy to have you here with us today. Thank you.
We also have with us today Dr. Jeff Doolittle, who is a instructional designer and a coach, and he will also be delivering some of the content today. Jeff, if you could please say hi to our audience.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Jeff. Here with us also is Dr. Carlita Alston, who's also an instructional designer and a program coach, and she will also be involved in the delivery of this webinar today. Carlita, if you could please say hi to the audience.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bidders Conference. We're glad you could join us today.
Thank you, Carlita. And last but not least is Dr. Gia Suggs, who's the instructional design lead and also a coach with Illinois Works. Gia, if you could please say hi to our audience today.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you much, Gia. As part of the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship team, there are a large number of individuals involved. Some of them are here today. Some of them are obviously doing other work as we deliver this webinar. Part of the team includes me, Dan Martinez, who's a financial grant manager. You already met Monica and Edwin today. Then we also have Shar Falls, who's also a programmatic grant manager. We have Sue Ridings, who's our monitoring grant manager. Then we have Jeff and Carlita that you have already met today, and Olivia Meisenbach, who's a technical writer with the team, and also Gia, who you have already met today. Besides this team and the pre-apprenticeship program, we have 3 other teams in the Office of Illinois Works supporting our efforts. Later on, we're going to be talking about what those teams do, but in general, we have an apprenticeship initiative team. We also have a bid credit program team, and we have a career services team, all working together to make the programs of the Office of Illinois Works a success. Illinois Works was created as a result of Governor Pritzker's historic $45 billion capital plan called Rebuild Illinois, and his commitment to expanding equity in the Illinois construction workforce. This exciting initiative creates opportunities for Illinois businesses, communities, and families. During this course, you will be provided with information, resources, and support to help you successfully respond to the Illinois Works NOFO and create a strong program proposal. The objectives for this particular webinar include, moving on to the objectives, please. By the end of this training, you'll be able to articulate the mission of DCEO, describe the relationship between DCEO and Illinois Works, describe the 3 key programs implemented as a result of the Illinois Works Jobs Program Act, describe the role of GATA in the NOFO process, access information available from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program NOFO 2025 website, successfully fill out the materials necessary to complete the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program NOFO application, and access Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO resources. So those are the objectives for our session today. Please keep in mind that this session is being recorded and will be made available for review on our 2025 NOFO website. You can access the Illinois Works 2025 NOFO website using the link that is being shared in the chat for you right now. So if you click on that link, you'll be able to see at the bottom of the page, you can either register, it says information sessions, you could either register for upcoming registration sessions, or for those that have been delivered, you'll be able to see the recordings there. You can download them and watch them at your own leisure. Are there any questions related to the content we've provided so far before we proceed to the next section? If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute your line or post your questions in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Do we have any questions in the chat, Carlita?
There are no questions in the chat.
Thank you much. Moving on to section 2. By the end of this section, you'll be able to use the WebEx features and functions to fully participate in the training and identify what you hope to learn from this training. You will notice we're using the WebEx platform to deliver this webinar. There are certain features that are important to go over in order for you to successfully participate today. There's a mute and unmute button at the bottom of your screen. There's also a stop and start video, and that is for your own camera. We are recording this webinar separately, but if you want to, turn on your camera or turn it off, you can certainly do that. There's also a raise hand option there that you can use if you want to raise your hand. There's an emoji section there where you can choose some emojis to respond or react to whatever content is being presented. There's also the chat box, and this is a very important section where you can enter your questions or comments so that we can address them. And then there's also a group section at the bottom. We are not going to be utilizing the group function today for this webinar. To help facilitate the best experience, please keep your line muted to help manage potential interruptions during training. The lines can be unmuted during question and answer sessions or group discussions. We will let you know at particular moments when you can unmute your line, but you could certainly share your questions or comments as we go along in the chat so that we can then respond to them when we have an opportunity. We will let you know, as I mentioned, when you have an opportunity to unmute your line, but just make sure that you keep your line muted while we're delivering the webinar outside of those opportunities that we will give you. Keep in mind that we will respond to as many of your comments and questions as possible within the allotted time that we have. We will also be using a system called Mentimeter for interactivity. There are several options on how you can access Mentimeter. You can go to the website that is now in the chat, www.menti.com, and enter the code that is there, A1202107. or you can also click on that link that is being provided there for you, or you can simply on your screen, you will notice it says multimedia viewer, external side. You'll be able to also join. You'll be able to also join Mentimeter. So let us know if you have any issues with Mentimeter, and we'll be more than happy. I'll give you a minute right now for you to go and access Mentimeter so that you can have all the access for us to have interaction today. Okay, we're gonna get going. We're gonna start using Mentimeter. Make sure that everybody has access to the technology. So using Mentimeter, if you could please enter your name, the organization or agency you represent, the role that you play in that organization, and also where you are located within the state of Illinois. Again, this is an exercise to make sure everybody has access to Mentimeter. Your name, your organization or agency you represent, the role that you play in that organization, and your geographic location. Okay, great. So we have Mark Williams from Hire 360. Mark, welcome. We have Dr. Parnell from Neighborhood House. Welcome to our program. If you could please indicate where you guys are located, that would be great. Sandra from OAI. We have Ronell from the Community Works. We have David from Pew Tax Center. We have someone from YWCA in Elgin. We don't have the name. We also have Nilda Duenas from CASL. We also have, I don't see some of these names. Magic Jackson from County Housing Authority. David Vaughn from CareerLink. If we could keep on going down, please, Gia, that would be great. Can we keep on going down on Mentimeter, please? Magic Jackson, I think I already read that one. Carrie Thurman from Denville Area Community College. Tiffany Crow from MFS. Jada Smith from Safe Places. Anybody else? We have about 30 participants on the webinar. We only read about 15 names. If you could please join Mentimeter and provide your information, that would be great. We only have 18 individuals that have provided information in Mentimeter. We would appreciate if you would please join Mentimeter so that we can have an interactive experience today. Once again, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Now, once again, using Mentimeter, please tell us what you hope to get out of today's Bidders Conference. Just indicate in Mentimeter, using Mentimeter, what you hope to learn during today's Bidders Conference. Just waiting a minute here for the responses. Someone saying they want to learn how to put together a stellar application. We will certainly go over all the requirements of the NOFO and how to submit an application, tips on a strong proposal. We will definitely do that today, emphasize what are some of the key program elements that you need to emphasize on your program application, information to assist with our application. Yes, certainly this is what this webinar is all about, what to avoid. We will also discuss some of the items related to particularly in relation to budgeting and some other programmatic requirements on what to avoid. What are hoping to create a new program and want specific instructions for new application. We will certainly go over all the programmatic requirements. They want to see if this is a good fit for their organization. Well, you'll be, after we go over all the information today, you'll be able to make that determination yourself. Understanding the program goals and expectations, that will be outlined today for sure. How to submit a strong proposal, yes, certainly. Overview of the apprenticeship NOFO, yes, we will show you, go over all the sections of the NOFO and also show you where on the landing page you can find all the information related to this NOFO. Tips on connections to employers and unions. We are going to discuss that transition services are a key component of our program, but we will not be providing tips on how to connect to employers or unions today. That is not the focus of our presentation today. We will be having a webinar soon on developing partnerships. You can certainly attend that webinar, and some of that will come up in that webinar. What are we looking for specifically? Yes, we will definitely address that today. Expectations, requirements, evaluation criteria of the grant, we will definitely discuss that today also. Anybody else? We got 11 responses. Again, there's 31 people logged on to Mentimeter. We would appreciate if you would please participate. If you have further comments, feedback, or questions after the training, you can certainly email us. The email address is now being provided for you in the chat. So, and it's also on the screen. You can email us at that address. If you have specific questions about the NOFO itself, you can email me directly. My email address is provided in the NOFO itself, and you can certainly send me an email. Any questions or comments before we proceed? You can unmute your line to ask a question, or you can enter it in the chat. Carlita, do we have any questions in the chat?
So far, we do not have any questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Thanks again. We went very quickly over how to use the technology and what this webinar is all about. Now we will proceed to the first section of this webinar, where we will discuss key elements of Illinois Works and also the NOFO. Please keep in mind, if you were part of the Intro to Illinois Works webinar, this section in particular may be a little review for you. But if you were not part of it, this is an important section for you to understand what Illinois Works is all about and what we're doing. I will now hand it over to Edwin Sanchez, one of our programmatic grant managers, who will be facilitating this section. Edwin, please go ahead.
Thank you, Norman. So today we'll be talking about the Illinois Works overview, like Dr. Rando mentioned. So by end of this section, you'll be able to describe the role of Governor Pritzker's historic $45 billion capital plan in creation of Illinois Works, explain the role of Illinois Works General Assembly regarding the Illinois Works Job Program Act, articulate the mission of DCEO, describe the innovative Illinois Works workforce development model, and access the Illinois Works Job Act website. You will also be, at the end of the section, you'll be able to identify the relevant data that evidence the need for Illinois Works, summarize the role of each Illinois Works 3 key programs, including the apprenticeship program, the pre-apprenticeship program, and the big credit program, summarize the role of the Illinois Works career team, and identify the Illinois Works goals. So Illinois Works is a top priority of the Illinois 2024 Economic Growth Plan, with new capital funding set to pave the way for tens of thousands of jobs over the next decade in the construction industry. The Illinois Works Job Program Act was intentionally designed to increase equity and opportunity in capital construction jobs for underserved groups, including people of color, women, and veterans. The intention is to reinvigorate the Illinois workforce for the future. So there will be a summary and full report available on the DCEO website. A link is being placed in the chat as well. The Office of Illinois Works is housed in the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. You'll often hear us refer it as DCEO for short. The Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity's mission is to support and maintain a climate that enables a strong economy for our customers, including taxpayers, businesses, workers, and communities. Now, Illinois Works was created a result of Governor Pritzker's $45 billion capital rebuild plan to expand equity. The Illinois Works Job Program Act is a statewide initiative to ensure that all Illinois residents have access to state capital projects and careers, including the construction industry and the building trades. The goal is to provide contracting and employment opportunities to historically underrepresented populations in the construction industry. This effort specifically targets women, people of color, and veterans. You can access information about DCEO and Illinois Works through the DCEO website. First, click on About Us, then scroll down and select Illinois Works. The link for the DCEO About Us webpage is available for you in the chat. You can find the Illinois Works Job Program Act website at the link that's being placed in the chat. This website has information on the 3 key Illinois Works programs, the career services that link them, and contractor resources as well. On the left-hand side of the website, there is a link to each of these 3 Illinois Works programs, as well as an option called Contact Us, which will provide you with the Illinois Works email address. To locate information on the pre-apprenticeship program, click on Construction Pre-Apprenticeship Program on the left-hand side. At the bottom of the page, there is also a virtual assistant available. This is similar to a help function. You can click on it and search for relevant information. Okay, so now we'll talk about the innovative models that we have. So let's talk about Illinois Works. So Illinois Works is a unique and innovative workforce development model that creates the job demand, talent pipeline, and incentives to hire and retain. Now, typically, workforce development models have one or perhaps even 2 of these key components. Any one or combination of 2 would substantially impact the workforce. Illinois Works encompasses all 3 of these key components to create a comprehensive response to workforce development at all levels. Illinois Works is a one-of-a-kind initiative and is in a unique position to make a substantial difference here in Illinois. Now, the DCO Office of Illinois Works, with the support and partnerships of communities, building trades, and construction industry, delivers 3 key programs that address the creation of the 3 components. So they are the Illinois Works Apprenticeship Initiative, the Illinois Works Apprenticeship Program, and the Illinois Works Big Credit Program. An expansion of apprenticeship opportunities will not only help boost employment and wages for more Illinois residents, but will also yield significant benefits for our economy at large, since the construction sector is projected to grow 12% in the next 10 years. Investments in job training in the construction industry can result in significant long-term economic impact for the state, totaling $1.2 billion. For every dollar invested in construction job training, Illinois obtains $11 in social and economic returns. Now, according to the Illinois Department of Labor and the U.S. Department of Labor Registered Apprenticeship Partners Information Database System, or RAPIDS for short, here's the percent of apprentices employed in the state's construction industry by group. You can see that at the time the Illinois Works Job Program Act was passed, fewer than 10% of the best paid apprenticeships were extended to women and minorities. As this table demonstrates, there are several groups underrepresented in the Illinois construction industry and building trades. Given this reality, The last column of data from program year 2024 demonstrates progress is being made through the Illinois Works job program. Now, the first DCO Office of Illinois Works key program is the Illinois Works Apprenticeship Initiative. This program opens doors of opportunity into the construction industry and the building trades. It applies to public works projects with an estimated cost of $500,000 or more, including capital grants, loans, and direct capital contracts and awards. For applicable projects, the goal is for the U.S. Department of Labor certified apprentices, not limited to pre-apprentice program graduates, to perform 10% of total labor hours actually worked in each prevailing wage category, or 10% of the estimated labor hours in each prevailing wage category, whichever is less. In summary, the goal is for U.S. Department of Labor certified apprentices to perform 10% of total labor hours actually worked in each prevailing wage category, or 10% of the estimated labor hours in each prevailing wage category, whichever is less. At least half of the 10% certified apprentice labor hours needed performed by Illinois Works graduate, amongst others. By having an established goal, contractors generally find themselves in need to hire more apprentices, resulting in higher demand for apprentices and for graduates. The Apprenticeship Initiative, launched in June of 2020, is presently overseeing the compliance of over 800 projects worth over $8 billion. A couple years ago, we launched a new compliance management platform that allowed us to transition from a manual quarterly reporting system to a real-time reporting system that utilizes Smartsheet technology. So now we'll talk about the next key program, which is the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program. The Illinois Works Apprenticeship Initiative creates a demand for jobs, and the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program creates the pipeline of diverse candidates to help respond to that demand. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program creates a qualified talent pipeline to fill job opportunities with diverse candidates for our grants. We strongly encourage proposals that provide training in disadvantaged communities or for underrepresented populations in construction and the trades. This includes women, people of color, and veterans. In summary, the program provides pre-apprenticeship skills training through a network of community-based organizations, which may include community colleges, faith-based organizations, and business associations, among others. Reference to underrepresented populations that have historically encountered barriers to entry or advancement in public work trades, including minorities, women, and veterans. Free tuition and a stipend to participants who attend the program. A comprehensive array of support services delivered to help address systemic barriers which prevent underrepresented populations from entering the construction industry. There is generous funding at an average of $11,000 per participant. Illinois Works has $25 million annual appropriation to fund our grantees. Now, the Illinois Works has provided the 2025 grantees with a grantee manual as a resource for instructions, guidance, tools, and expectations for program design, implementation, and delivery. Illinois Works is a semi-structured model with minimum program standards and outcome, which are outlined in this manual. Guidelines that articulate structural expectations can be found in this document. You can access this resource by using the link that is now being shared in the chat. A 2026 grantee manual is currently under development and will be available to all grantees that receive funding for 2026. Any questions regarding the grantee manual?
There are no questions in the chat.
Great, thank you, Carlita. In 2025, 31 grantees received 37 grants across the state of Illinois, a $18.3 million investment. The average award was $501,439.02 with a $20.5 million investment. Our present network of providers have capacity to serve approximately 1,800 Illinois residents through the majority of economic development regions of the state of Illinois. Our goal with this year's NOFO is to fund approximately 40 to 45 providers, including existing grantees that receive funding renewal offers, covering the whole state of Illinois, which is the maximum capacity we plan to operate with into the future. As the end of 2024, the far right column of the table there displays the representation of underrepresented groups currently enrolled in the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program. Given the current trades, Illinois Works is well positioned to impact equity in construction and the building trades in Illinois by decisively reaching out to, recruiting, training, graduating, and transitioning key target underrepresented populations, which are, again, women, minorities, and veterans. In addition, grantees have access to the Illinois Works heat map. This is one of the many tools that Illinois Works is making available to its grantee to support their success. This technology provides an overview of statewide demographic data, Illinois Works project data, as well as the location and essential information of all Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship programs and DOL registered apprenticeship programs. Grantees can access information regarding the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program, concentration of underrepresented populations, economic development regions, Illinois Works projects by county, and of critical importance, DOL registered apprenticeship programs. This map is utilized by both the pre-apprenticeship program and the apprenticeship initiative to connect the public with local training programs as well as contractors with apprentices. The map's coloring demonstrates the number of Illinois Works projects happening in each county, with the dark pink symbolizing higher concentrations and dark teal representing lower concentrations. Now, the final DCO Office of Illinois Works key program is the Illinois Works Bid Credit Program. The Illinois Works Apprenticeship Initiative creates the demand for the jobs. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program creates the pipeline of diverse candidates to help to respond to the demand. And to complete the puzzle, we have created incentives to help ensure that Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program graduates are hired and retained by contractors and subcontractors. The Illinois Works Big Credit Program incentivizes contractors to hire and retain a diverse pool of candidates. It allows contractors and subcontractors to earn bid credits by employing apprentices who have completed the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program. Bid credits can be used toward future bids for public works projects contracted by the state of Illinois or an agency of the state. So in summary, this program, the Illinois Works Bid Credit Program, allows contractors and subcontractors to earn bid credits for use toward future bids for public works projects contracted by the state or an agency of the state. Bid credits can only be earned for employing apprentices who have completed the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, but they can be earned for any project the graduate works on, public or private, union or non-union. DCO establishes the bid credit earning rates for all prevailing wage construction trades. This rate will be reviewed and revised annually. There are no maximum bid credits that can be earned by contractors and or subcontractors, and no limit to the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship graduates they can hire. The Illinois Works Bid Credit Bank is administered by DCEO as a mechanism for tracking the bid credits. Bid credits can be pooled between multiple contractors and or subcontractors for a single capital funded project, but there is a maximum allowable bid credit amount for each project based on the estimated project costs. The Big Credit Program has launched and is a tool to support the transition of Illinois Works pre-apprentice into DOL registered apprenticeship programs. Companies qualify to Big Credits as long as an Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship graduate is in a DOL registered apprenticeship program. Now, to help with all this, a state-of-the-art platform was developed to track a contractor's Big Credits through the Illinois Works Big Credit Bank. This platform also allows the tracking of pre-apprenticeship program graduates that contractors hire in order to earn bid credits. Lastly, the Career Services team is the glue that holds all the pieces of the Illinois Works puzzle together. Illinois Works recently launched the Career Services team that is designed specifically to build relationships with DOL registered apprenticeship programs, RAPs for short, directly connect employers and graduates through job matching, create and provide customized lists of graduates, provide long-term transition support to graduates. The main goal of Illinois Works is to increase the number of Illinois Works pre-apprentices gaining employment and entry into DOL RAPs of their choice. By achieving this goal, the team directly supports the goal of connecting contractors to a highly qualified talent pipeline, which allows them to earn big credits to be used on future capital projects funded by an agency of the state of Illinois, or give them the ability to comply with the apprenticeship initiative. The Illinois Works Career Services team facilitates job matching. This highly effective team works hard to ensure a seamless and efficient process. Contractors only need to submit a job order through the Illinois Works employer form and specify their employment needs. This user-friendly form allows the Illinois Works Career Services team to send a list of Illinois Works graduates that match their job requirements. The job order form is also used by contractors to provide follow-up information about the graduates they may have screened or hired from the list they receive. And this is all done through the Career Pathways Management Platform, CPMP for short, which allows each of the three key Illinois Works programs, the Apprenticeship Initiative, the Pre-Apprenticeship Program, and the Big Credit Program, to input and access critical data, enabling them to achieve their Illinois Works goal. This new database tracks Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program graduates and allows companies to review their resumes for hire. Now, with your partnership, we can achieve our goals. We will have provided a career pathway for residents in disadvantaged communities, provided eligible apprentices with the skills for a lifelong job security, promoted construction as a viable job industry for women and minority communities, provided the construction industry with a consistent skilled workforce for generations to come, and created partnerships between state agencies and community organizations. To learn more about Illinois Works and its programs, you are encouraged to access the August 12, 2025 webinar from the Illinois Works Apprenticeship NOFO website. You can use the website using the link that is being shared with you in the chat now. Now, before we proceed to the next section, are there any questions or comments about DCO, Illinois Works, or the key programs we went over? Please feel free to unmute your line or post your question in the chat. I know we went over a lot of information, so if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Ask them now.
Thank you, Edwin. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Carlita. Now my colleague, Monica, will take over.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you for sharing so much very important information. Good morning again, everyone. The information that I'll share next is perhaps even more critical. We'll jump into section 4, which is data eligibility. By the end of this section, you'll be able to describe the role of data in the NOFO process, access the GATA pre-qualification website, and also access the GATA pre-qualification webinar session that was recorded last week. As many of you know, the DCEO Notice of Funding Opportunity, also known as the NOFO, was released on August the 1st, 2025. You can access the Notice of Funding Opportunity or the NOFO as we call it, by using the link that is being shared in the chat. The goal of the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program NOFO is to provide grants to community-based organizations, including accredited public colleges and universities, and coalitions throughout the state that will recruit, pre-screen, and provide pre-apprenticeship skills training to those interested in construction and the trades. Successful grantees will be expected to provide pathways and manage the transition from the pre-apprenticeship program to a full DOL registered apprenticeship program, which is of course the primary goal of Illinois Works, again in the construction and building trades. Presently, the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program funds 37 programs located throughout the state of Illinois that represent 5 different models. We currently serve school districts, small and medium nonprofit organizations, large nonprofits, community colleges, and also business associations. This NOFO is focused, although not exclusively, on awarding grants in geographic areas where the Office of Illinois Works does not presently have pre-apprenticeship programs or limited programming, and to increase the representation of underrepresented groups that presently are not served or are underserved by existing programs, including individuals of Asian descent, veterans, and women, amongst others. Primarily, our programs currently serve African Americans and Hispanics, and of course, Illinois Works wants to continue services to these populations as well. The NOFO is open to all economic development regions, but the following regions and counties are strongly encouraged to apply. Central Region, which is Region 1 here in Sangamon County. There's the North Central Region, which encompasses Peoria County, McLean County, Northeast Region, that includes DeKalb County, DuPage County, Payne, Kankakee, and Kendall counties, and also McHenry County and suburban Cook County and Will County. Region 6, or the Northwest Region, includes LaSalle County, Rock Island County, and Whiteside County. We would love to have some applicants from down south. The Southeast Region, Region 7, includes Marion County and Lawrence County. And then finally, the Southern Region, which is Region 8, encompasses Jackson County. You can see these geographic boundaries on the Economic Development Region's website, and I believe that link is being placed in the chat now. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program will fund approximately 40 to 45 programs throughout the state, including new grantees serving more than 2,000 residents. New grantees can be either experienced or inexperienced providers, large or small organizations, as long as your organization has the ability to reach the underrepresented populations and can effectively serve them. And I would just like to point out that the regions that I mentioned before are certainly our areas of focus. However, applicants from outside of these regions will also be considered. So certainly if you are outside of one of these regions, please consider applying anyway. Let's talk about the GATA pre-qualification website. The first step in your grant application process is your Grant Accountability and Transparency Act pre-qualification, which thankfully is also known as your GATA pre-qualification. You cannot apply for a grant under this NOFO if you are not GATA pre-qualified. For information regarding GATA pre-qualification, you can access the GATA website using the link that is being shared in the chat now. It is important to note that the GATA pre-qualification process can take several weeks. If you have not completed your GATA pre-qualification, it is critical to get started now, as in as soon as this webinar ends. This is not just a state process, it involves a federal process as well. So it's important, if you would like to apply through this NOFO process, that again, if you have not already started your GATA pre-qualification, please begin immediately. If you do not have your GATA pre-qualification, your proposal in response to this NOFO will not be considered. So again, It's critical that you start now. All Illinois Works NOFO applicants must complete the GATA pre-qualification process. Current GATA standing must be good, or you must be in good standing if you are already GATA pre-qualified. Your GATA profile must be maintained, and you must also ensure that your GATA portal is cleared. My understanding is that the state of Illinois is developing a new statewide life cycle grant management system. This new system will provide a common internet accessible platform for all grant activity, which will be accessible through the grantee portal. So I look forward to learning more about this myself. That's new information. To learn more about the GATA portal, please access the link that is being shared in the chat. For more information regarding the above criteria, you can access the GATA grantee resource website using the link that is being shared in the chat now. Additional session offerings, including the GATA pre-qualification informational session recording, are available on the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website. And these dates that are shown on your screen now can be found at the bottom of that page. Some of our upcoming NOFO webinars include our session on developing partnerships, which will take place this Thursday, and the performance-based payment model, which will be presented next Tuesday on August 26th. You can access the website using the link that is being placed in the chat. Okay, so as far as the information sessions recordings are concerned, if you are unable to attend a live session, you can access a recording of the training from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website. After the session, recordings have been uploaded to the site. The registration link will be replaced with the recording link, like you see on the screen there. This is an example from last year. As this year, it takes approximately 5 business days to post the webinar for the recording to be available. So either the recordings from last week are currently there, and the future recordings will be there in about 5 days. So one of the sessions that is upcoming is developing partnerships. Developing partnerships are not only a cornerstone for a successful Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship program, it is also a program requirement. If you want to learn more about expectations regarding Illinois Works partnerships, please plan to attend the Developing Partnerships session on August 21st. You can register for this session on the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website using the link that is currently available in the chat. In fact, the schedule for all upcoming live sessions and session recordings are available at that website, the Illinois Works NOFO 2025 website. Before we proceed to the next section, do you have any questions, or are there any questions in the chat?
Yes, Monica, we do have a question from Ronell. He says, how will the targeted regions and underserved populations be weighed against other regions and populations?
Dr. Ruano, would you like to, well, first I should start off by saying that it is a competitive process. The merit review process is competitive. So there is a prescribed formula that all applications will be graded by. But would you like to speak to the specific regions that we are focused on and how they might differ in any way?
Yeah, thank you for following up on that. My specific question was, is there different weight given in evaluating the applications if there is a targeted region versus a non-targeted region? For example, you mentioned several areas that do not have representation. So if we submit from an area that does have representation already, how will that compare?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the way applications are graded, they're all graded using the same grading system. We are obviously interested in providing more funding to organizations that are located, and we use a system called geographic necessity, organizations located in areas where we don't have a lot of representation. And so in negotiating with, if those applications are scored at the level where we can negotiate with them, those applications may receive, you know, depending on what they're asking, larger funding opportunities to serve more people than applications that are located in areas where we have a lot of organizations that are funded. But they are all graded the same way. They are all scored the same way by the evaluators. There's no difference between an organization in a targeted area versus an organization that is applying in places that are not being targeted. All applications will be considered, and they're scored the same way.
Okay, thank you. That was the question. I appreciate that answer.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruano, as well. If there are no additional questions, I will move on to, or I will pass the mic to Jeff, who will move on to section 5.
All right. Well, hey, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Monica, for bringing us to this point. I get to talk to you about the Illinois Works NOFO website. So, by the end of this section, you're going to be able to access information about the DCEO Notice of Funding opportunity. You're going to be able to describe the available features of the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website and be able to download the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program NOFO materials. Besides GATA, the pre-qualification training information, everything that you need to successfully complete the NOFO is going to be available to you in this website. So let us review each section of the NOFO website in detail so you can access the Illinois Works 2025 website using the link that is being shared with you in the chat right now. The website offers a wealth of information and support regarding funding for the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, including program background, program design, frequently asked questions, funding information, submission details, award timelines, NOFO materials, and then resources that we'll revisit later as well, and information sessions, which we'll revisit as well. In 2025 NOFO, the bar across the top of the website will provide you with information regarding English and Spanish translations, so you can toggle back and forth, as well as partners. And in addition, the website provides the following information on resources: NOFO references, resources for competitive applications, resources on national best practices for pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs, resources on the national best practices for equity, pre-apprenticeship, and apprenticeship programs. The Illinois Works information sessions I mentioned earlier, as a reminder, the offerings are available on the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website, the bottom of the page. So scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you'll access the website using the link that is being provided in chat again right now. Now, keep in mind, if you're unable to attend a live session, you can always come back and watch a recording of the training from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website as well. And this registration link is going to be placed with a recording link, as was covered by by Monica just a little bit ago. We'll go ahead on and the 2025 NOFO materials. To download the NOFO on the NOFO website, go to NOFO materials on the right side of the screen and select NOFO supplement template. Now, everything that you're going to need to successfully complete the NOFO is going to be available for you on this website. Now, are there any questions before we proceed to the next section? And actually, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but do you have any questions before we head out to break? I'm going to give you just a second. I know that went fast. It's the website. Again, I hope you're able to get to it, access it. If you're not, please let us know. And those links are in the chat there for you to make it easy for you.
Looks like we don't have any questions in the chat, Jeff.
Okay, well, good news for you. We're going to take a 5-minute break here. and we're going to come back at 10:32. How about that? 10:32. And Dr. Iwano is going to dive into the meat of the NOFO process, which I know you're going to want to hear more about. So we'll see you back in 5 minutes.
Okay, great. We are going to continue the webinar here. We have so far gone over an intro to Illinois Works, just to refresh for those that have not heard about Illinois Works in general and how the model operates. We have also discussed the GATA requirements. It's important to emphasize that unless you're GATA pre-qualified and in good standing with GATA, we will not be able to evaluate your application, even if you submit one. So that's very important. And then Jeff went over the website. We are going to go back to some of those items in a minute, just to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask your questions in case you have any questions. But we're going to get going now with section 6, which is really the heart of the matter here when it comes to the NOFO. We're going to go over all the NOFO requirements, all the different sections. We're also going to talk about the various program requirements so that you have all of that information. So, after at the end of section 6, you'll be able to access the NOFO materials available on the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship 2025 NOFO website, including the required attachments 1 through 4. Describe the NOFO 8 distinct sections, content sections A through H. Incorporate each of the required program elements into your application. List the required materials to submit an application. Submit the application by the due date and time, and articulate the evaluation criteria along with accessing the reference and resources that are available on the website. So moving on to the next slide, please. So you will notice on the landing page on the website that Jeff was talking about, there's a particular section that is called NOFO materials. That is really where you want to focus your attention if you are interested in submitting a proposal. The NOFO itself, if you want to actually download the NOFO itself, it's called the NOFO supplement template. So you will notice there are two items, two bullets on that section that say NOFO. The first one, called the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO, is actually just a summary. It's a one-page summary of this funding opportunity. But the NOFO supplement template is actually a 30-plus page document that explains everything about this NOFO, about our program, about what you need to do in order to apply. There's also here on this section of the website, the uniform application, which is the standard application. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's the budget template also. There's a conflict of interest disclosure. There is a mandatory disclosure. There is attachment 1, which is called proposed work plan. Attachment 2, which is participant demographic and outcome summary. Attachment 3, which is the sample curriculum and proposed curriculum. And then attachment 4, which is the staffing plan. All of these items, uniform application, budget template, conflict of interest disclosure, mandatory disclosure, and the 4 attachments, all of those need to be submitted to when you submit your application, including your proposal, okay? And your proposal, you will read in the NOFO supplement template, and we'll go over that in a minute. It will tell you, what you have to write in your proposal or how it needs to be written, font size and such, okay? So, but those are the key items that you will find there in that website under NOFO materials, okay? Let's start with the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO. As I mentioned, this is the summary page of the NOFO, and it contains all the relevant information related to this funding opportunity. However, the NOFO supplement template has all the requirements to apply for this funding opportunity. So as I said, there are 2 bullets that say NOFO. The first one is just a summary. The NOFO supplement template is the actual NOFO document, 30-plus pages, that has all the information, all the requirements that you need to be able to address in your application. Second item is the NOFO, the uniform application, okay? The uniform application serves both as a guide and a checklist for your NOFO application. It identifies what needs to be included, the order for which the content should be presented, and critical identifying information regarding the applicant. The uniform application must be submitted with your application proposal. Do you have any questions about the application itself? Please keep in mind that the application that we use, it's a standard DCO state of Illinois application. It's not any different than other applications that you have used for a grant with DCO. So if you have applied before for a grant with DCO, you're going to see something similar with this application. Any questions or comments related to the application? Carlita, do we have any questions in the chat?
Norman, I do not see any questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on to the next item, the NOFO supplement. The NOFO supplement template is the entire notice of funding opportunity document. This NOFO is ID 26143122. That's the number for that NOFO supplement template. It is the agency-specific content for the notice of funding opportunity for the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program. It contains 8 sections in the description of how to apply for the funding opportunity. So this is really going to be very important for you. The supplement template, the NOFO supplement template is what you want to download, read through it. It has all of the information, all the requirements, how you're going to be evaluated. We are going to take a minute in a few minutes to go over all the different sections of the NOFO, but for right now, we're reviewing all the various documents that are available in that section, the NOFO materials section of the website. The next item is the budget template. The budget template is an Excel spreadsheet. And this, once again, is a standard document that is used by DCO and the state of Illinois when it comes to applying for grants. It's a comprehensive document that contains 20 tabs. The first tab provides instructions for completion. The remaining tabs allow you to detail your budgeted activities by the following categories. There's a bunch of different categories. If you have applied for funding in the past with the state of Illinois, you have seen this document before. It has, general instructions, then it has section A, it has an ICI section, then a section B, a certification, personnel, fringe benefits, travel, equipment, supplies, contractual, consultant, occupancy, and on we go. What's really important about this document is keep in mind that sections A and B are locked because they use auto functions which automatically add the numbers entered from the subsequent sheet. So when you enter numbers in personnel, fringe benefits, etc., the system, the Excel form will automatically add in sections A and B. So as a result, you do not have to make any changes or add any numbers to section A and B. The other thing to keep in mind is that these are just relevant items as it relates to your budgeting for Illinois Works. You need to ensure that whatever cost you're proposing do not exceed $11,000 per participant served, okay? We have had in the past grants submitted that are asking for $40,000, $50,000 per participant served. I can tell you that is not happening with Illinois Works. We fund on an average of $11,000 per participant. That is one of the highest per participant funding levels in the state of Illinois for workforce development programming. So when you do your budget, because budgets are evaluated by our evaluators, keep in mind that about $11,000 is what we are looking to be able to fund for this program. The other thing to keep in mind is that your budget must be submitted with your application proposal. If you submit an application proposal without a budget, it will not be considered. And when completing your budget, there are some key best practices that you need to keep in mind. One is you need to be able to provide a rationale on how you arrive to a number, right? So, you include the dollar amount. Let's say, I don't know, stipends, and you put a certain dollar amount. You need to explain at the bottom in the sheet. It will allow you to explain how you calculated the number. So you have to show your calculations. If you're asking for I don't know, $40,000 for stipends. Indicate how you arrived at that calculation. You know, so much money per participant, so much money per training hour, right? If you do not show your narrative, your budget will be incomplete. You could show the number, but if the narrative is not there on how you arrived at that number, that will be considered incomplete. Uh, and you also have to make sure that the numbers that you're entering there are making sense and that they're adding up correctly into the total, the running total that you have in section A and B. Ensure that there is alignment between your budget narrative and the dollar amount that you're entering. We see a lot of budgets where people enter a certain budget narrative, a certain calculation, and when we run that calculation, it doesn't add up to the money that is being entered on top, because the top section of each of the tabs is where you enter the numbers, and then in the bottom is where it asks you to enter the narrative on how you calculated those numbers. A lot of times those two don't add up. The narrative doesn't add up to the number. They need to add up in order for that that number, for us to be able to verify the number and for the evaluators to be able to score that. At the same time, it's important for you to allocate in your budget any dollar amounts for professional development, which are in-person events, including one regional meeting and one annual conference that Illinois Works runs. So we run a regional meeting in May and we run an annual conference in October, and all staff from our grantees are required to attend training and professional developments. Those two events, again, need to be included on your budget. Any questions about the budget before we move on to the next item?
Yes, Norman, we have one question in the chat. This is from
Okay.
Jada. She says, does that $11,000 per participant include personnel and administrative costs?
Yes, everything. So after you've done your budget, if you're planning to serve 50 participants at $11,000 per participant, your budget should not exceed $550,000, which is the highest that will fund any program for. If you're planning to serve 20 participants, then multiply that by 11,000, and that's what you have to work with. We are not. That's the average that we fund. We rarely go over that. Um, you know, it includes all costs related to your program. Okay, moving on to the next item, conflict of interest disclosure. This is a very important and required document. No application will be approved without a conflict of interest disclosure. This allows you to disclose details about potential conflicts of interest concerning employment, financial concerns, public appearances, etc. The conflict of interest disclosure must be submitted with your application proposal. If you have any questions about that document, the document has a lot of instructions and definitions of what needs to be included on that document. And that once again is a standard document for state of Illinois grants. Please make sure that you read it and you submit that form with your proposal. Any questions before we move on to the next item, Carlita?
There are no questions. Thank you for that other clarification.
Thank you. Mandatory disclosure is the next item that you will see on the NOFO materials. The mandatory disclosure form requires that all applicants use this form to disclose any and all violations of state or federal criminal law involving fraud, bribery, or gratuity violations potentially affecting the award. Mandatory disclosure must be submitted with your application proposal. Once again, these documents are key. Without these documents being included, your application cannot be sent out for evaluation. The next items, and we will discuss in a later section in this webinar, these attachments more in detail, but you should know there are 4 required attachments that need to be submitted with your proposal. Attachment 1, the proposed work plan. Attachment 2, the participant demographic and outcome summary. Attachment 3, the sample curriculum and proposed curriculum. And attachment 4, the staffing plan. We will, again, in a few minutes, cover those more in depth after we go through all the sections and program elements, but I wanted to make sure that you knew those are part of the required materials that have to be submitted with your application. Do you have any questions about the uniform application, the budget template, the conflict of interest disclosure, and the mandatory disclosure? If you do have any questions, please unmute your line at this time or post your questions in the chat.
Looks like we don't have any questions at this time.
Okay, great. So moving on to the NOFO 8 section. So as I mentioned, when you look at the NOFO materials, there are two documents that say NOFO. One is the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO. That's just a summary. The other one is the NOFO Supplement Template. The NOFO Supplement Template is the 32-page or 30-plus page document where we explain everything related to this NOFO. That's what we're going to go over right now. It has 8 different sections. And it's very important that you understand what those sections have. We're going to go through all of those right now, answer any questions you may have. So these sections are labeled A through H, okay? They will provide, each of those sections will provide detailed information regarding the respective content included, okay? So let's start with section A, which is program description. So section A of the actual NOFO document, the NOFO template, this section provides an overview of Governor Pritzker's executive order regarding workforce development and job creation, the Illinois Works 3 key programs, which we reviewed at the start of the session, as well as national best practices, our program history, program goals, program requirements, and performance goals and measures. Later on, we're going to spend a little bit of time going over the program requirements so that we can in detail discuss those, but that will be later in this session. For right now, we're just going to keep on going through the various sections of the NOFO so that we can address any questions that you may have. The goal of the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program is to provide grants to community-based organizations, including accredited public colleges or universities or coalitions throughout the state that will recruit, pre-screen, and provide pre-apprenticeship skills training. I want to emphasize something here that is very important. Our funding system is not just for supportive services. This is a true pre-apprenticeship program that requires for our programs to deliver instruction. They need to deliver skills training. What that means is they will need to have the facilities, the appropriate facilities to deliver construction training, construction lab, instruction to do actual construction, hands-on with tools and such. So it's very important that as you think about putting together a proposal that you consider that, because one of the things that we will ask during negotiations is, where is your construction training facility? What type of equipment is there? What type of materials are they going to be using? What type of tools? Because the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, it's a true pre-apprenticeship system that requires for actual skills training to be delivered. We will not approve nor will we grant funding only to provide supportive services. This needs to be an actual training operation. Successful grantees will also be expected to provide pathways and manage transition from the pre-apprenticeship program to a full apprenticeship program in construction and the building trades. So when people graduate from your program, they need to be able to transition to DOL registered apprenticeship program in their communities, be it that those are unionized or not. However, they need to be able to receive transition services to do that transition. Presently, the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program funds programs throughout the state of Illinois. This NOFO is focused on awarding grants in geographic areas where the Office of Illinois Work does not presently have pre-apprenticeship programs, and to increase the representation of underrepresented groups that presently are not served or are underserved by existing programs. And again, I want to emphasize, like someone asked before, even though that is our goal and that's our focus, we are still going to review and evaluate applications that come in from areas where we already have representation. So the 2025 Illinois Works grantees, we presently have 37 programs located throughout the state of Illinois that represent 5 different models. I want to emphasize Illinois Works is the largest state-funded pre-apprenticeship system in the country. There's only one pre-apprenticeship system that is larger than ours, and that is Youth Build, which is a USDOL funded program, which is a national program. Outside of that, Illinois Works is the largest pre-apprenticeship system in the country. The 5 different models that we run are school districts. We have school districts now operating um, Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship programs. We also have small and medium nonprofit organizations. We also have large nonprofit organizations running some of our programs. We also have community colleges and other colleges, private nonprofit colleges and universities that are also running some of our programs. And we have some business associations also presently running some of our programs. As I said, our focus area is in awarding. Our focus for this NOFO is in awarding funding to certain geographic areas. We do not presently have pre-apprenticeship programs, or when we're interested in increasing certain demographics within our network. Monica already went over the geographic areas that we're targeting, but it's important to keep in mind that we are seeking to increase services for certain particular populations that we're mandated to serve by law, specifically veterans, Asian Americans, women, among others. We're also looking to sustain services for Hispanics, African Americans, rural whites are also part of the populations that we serve. Illinois Works plans to fund up to 25 new grantees to join our renewal grantees to create a network of 40 to 45 providers with capacity to serve over 2,000 Illinois residents. Edwin already went over some of this information, but it's part of this section in the NOFO. New grantees can either be experienced or inexperienced providers, large or small, as long as your organization has the ability to reach underrepresented populations and effectively serve them. We will consider those applications. Even though these are areas of focus, as I mentioned before, applicants outside of these regions will receive consideration, and their applications will be evaluated and scored based on their merits. Any questions or comments related to the content I just delivered?
Yes, we do have a couple of questions in the chat. Ronald says, are youth build grantees eligible to apply for this opportunity or be a partner?
Youth Bill grantees are definitely able to apply. Here's one thing that is very important to keep in mind, though. This application, Illinois Works, is not specifically for youth only. This system is designed to serve the community at large. So a youth build program, and we do have a couple of youth build providers within our network, but those programs need to be made open to the public in general in those communities, not only to youth. They need to run mixed cohorts where they will have youth, where they'll have other adults, where they'll have women, where they have men, where our programs are not designed specifically for youth the way Youth Build is designed to serve specifically youth. Our programs are designed to serve the community at large. Youth are certainly welcome to participate, and we serve a lot of young people in our programs, but it's not specifically just for youth. It's designed to serve a community in general. And obviously, there are organizations that are not youth build programs, but that partner with youth build programs to be able to deliver services. Any other questions, Carlita?
Yeah, we have a couple more. The next question is from Jada. She's asking, if you want to serve multiple geographic areas, do you have to submit multiple applications?
If you want to serve different economic development regions, you will be able to find on the NOFO information on how to look at the boundaries of economic development regions. If you want to serve different economic development regions, you will have to submit an application for each of those regions. You cannot include more than one economic development region in the same application.
Okay, and then we have one last question from Tiffany. Is there a minimum age to participate?
Yes, in general, the minimum age to participate in Illinois Works is 18 years of age. The reason for that is that because this is a transition program into DOL registered apprenticeship programs, most registered apprenticeship programs require that individuals are at least 18 years of age or more, and they need to have a high school diploma or GED certificate in order to participate. The only exception to that rule is if the application requests to serve to be a high school based program. And in order to be a high school based program, and I'll go into more detail later, you have to either be a school district or you have to partner with a school district, and the kids need to be 18 years of age by the time they finish the Illinois Works program, and they need to have a high school diploma by the time they finish the Illinois Works program. That's the only exception. All other programs need to serve individuals that are at least 18 years of age or older and that already have a high school diploma or a GED certificate. Illinois Works funding cannot be used to provide GED instruction or high school instruction to individuals. It can only be used to provide construction pre-apprenticeship training.
I have,
Any other questions, Carlita?
yes, we have one more question from Justin. If nonprofit status is pending, is it still possible to qualify based on GATA standards?
If you are not GATA pre-qualified, as we mentioned before, and you are not in good standing with GATA, if you are pre-qualified but not in a good standing with GATA, you cannot apply to this funding opportunity. You have to be GATA pre-qualified and you have to be in good standing with GATA in order for you to apply for this opportunity.
Okay, those were all the questions in the chat.
Thanks, Carlita. Moving on to funding information, which is section B of the NOFO. This section provides information regarding the funding. This is a grant program utilizing state funds only. Appropriated by the Illinois General Assembly under Public Act 102-0017. You can access the Illinois General Assembly Public Act 102-007 information using the link that is now being shared with you in the chat. If you're interested in reading through that information, you can certainly do that. As I mentioned, we expect to award up to $12 million for grants under this NOFO. Each individual grant should range between $150,000 to $550,000. If you do the numbers at $11,000 per participant, that means that the maximum number of individuals that you will be able to serve will be 50 people. Generally, the majority of large programs that are part of our network are serving 50 individuals. We only have a few serving less and a few serving more. The ones that serve more is for programs that have been established with our network and have demonstrated they have the capacity and the quality necessary to do that. It's very important that you keep in mind that when you submit your application, you indicate, the target population that you're going to serve. If you're going to be serving and using the attachments, you can indicate I'm going to be serving, 30 people, so many women, so many men, so many African Americans, so many whites, so many Hispanics, so many Asians, so many veterans. It's not just about saying I want to serve 50 people. You really need to think this through to see who exactly you're planning to serve. In this section, you could also find funding information regarding administrative costs, pre-award and application costs, budget contingency, and award term. Existing Illinois Works grantees can submit an application in response to this NOFO only if they propose to serve a different economic development region than the one they are originally contracted to serve. So if you are an existing Illinois Works provider and you want to submit an application through the NOFO, you can only do so if you're planning to serve a different economic development region. Now, we do have existing Illinois Works providers that are in their third year of programming, and they will need to submit a NOFO in order to be activated again with funding with Illinois Works. So if you're one of those existing providers, you can continue to serve the economic development region with an application, but that's only if you are already in your third year and you are using the NOFO process to renew your funding with Illinois Works. Any questions, Gia? I'm
So
sorry,
far,
Carlita.
that's okay. No questions are in the chat.
Okay, great. Moving on to eligibility information, which is section C of the NOFO. It is important to understand the eligibility information as we have discussed. GATA registration and GATA pre-qualification is required to apply for this funding. This section reinforces the expectation. Another thing that is important to keep in mind that if your entity is in the Illinois stop payment list and or the federal excluded parties list at the time of application submission, you will not be considered for an award. Applicants must be in good standing both with Illinois and also the federal. If you cannot be on the federal excluded parties list, you cannot be on the Illinois stop payment list by the time you apply in order to be considered for funding opportunities. Being GATA pre-qualified, registered and pre-qualified, and being in good standing are fundamental requirements for you to be able to apply for this funding opportunity. Eligible applicants under the NOFO are nonprofit community-based organizations. I want to emphasize the nonprofit part of it. You cannot be a for-profit entity and apply for this funding opportunity. You can certainly, if you're a for-profit entity, you can certainly partner with a nonprofit entity that applies for this funding. If you're going to be a provider for them or a partner for them, and they will be paying you for some services you're going to be delivering, and you are a for-profit, that can certainly happen. But the applicant to this funding opportunity can only be nonprofit community-based organizations, including colleges, industry associations, chambers of commerce, local workforce innovation areas, community colleges, technical schools, school districts, nonprofit organizations, and on we go. You can find more information on the NOFO supplement on page 16 if you want more information about these requirements. Okay, application criteria. Under this section, funding is available for new experienced providers and existing Illinois workforce grantees. So experienced and new providers. This NOFO will consider organizations that have experience in a trajectory delivering construction pre-apprenticeship and other construction training programs. Applicants that do not have experience or have not operated a pre-apprenticeship program, but have experience serving the underrepresented populations are encouraged to apply in partnership with other relevant organizations that have experience in the effective design and delivery of the required services. So if you're an organization that does not have a lot of experience either delivering construction programming, pre-apprenticeship programming, but you have experience serving the underrepresented populations, we're targeting partner with some other organization that has experience in the design and delivery of the required services. You can certainly find more information related to partners and pass-through organizations. We're putting a link right now in the chat where you can find information at DCO related to those partnerships. At the same time, and we'll emphasize later on, we're going to be delivering next Tuesday a webinar related to partnerships. I'm sorry, this Thursday, 9:30 to 12:30 related to partnerships. I encourage you to join and learn more details about it. Next Tuesday, we have a webinar related to the performance-based payment model that we use at Illinois Works for all of our grantees. Now, what if you're an existing Illinois Works grantee? As I mentioned earlier, existing Illinois Works grantees can submit an application in response to this NOFO only if they propose to serve a different geographic area, different economic development region than the one they are originally contracted to serve, or they can apply if they are in year 3 of their existing agreement. They need to apply again in order to renew their funding with Illinois Works. What if you are a previous Illinois Works grantee? Organizations that were previously funded by Illinois Works are able to apply for this funding opportunity. Previous performance in the Illinois Works, this is very important point, in the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program will be taken into consideration. As a result, these applicants should plan to address how their program will address previous performance issues. So if you were a previous Illinois Works provider and you did not get renewed in the past due to performance issues, if you do apply, you can certainly apply for funding through this NOFO, but you will need to show and demonstrate how you've addressed those performance issues or how you plan to address them going forward so that when your application is evaluated, those items can be taken into consideration. Additional items related to application criteria. In addition to what was shared, you will find in this section the following information. Cost sharing or matching, you are not required to have any matching funds. However, projects that include matching or use leverage funds from multiple funding sources will be given consideration. We also in this section discuss indirect cost rates, Freedom of Information Act and confidential information and other information is also discussed here. You can find this information on the NOFO supplement on page 18. Okay, any questions before we move on to section D, Carlita?
Okay, I see something. Sorry to be a pain, but I'm having difficulty hearing the speaker. I'm sorry. And then there's one question here. Are you able to exceed the 11,000 per participant threshold if you have matching funds?
So Carlita, are you having a hard time hearing me, or anybody else having a hard time hearing me, or is it
I
right
can
now
hear
due to the
you.
weather, there
Yes,
may be some difficulties?
I hear you. Fine.
Okay, so it may be the person having some difficulties in the area related to the weather and bandwidth, but so if anybody else is having a hard time hearing me, please let me know. We want to make sure that as we move forward, that this is all good. As I mentioned, this is being recorded, so it's also available for you to listen after we are completed with the webinar. What was the question, Carlita?
So the question was, are you able to exceed the $11,000 per participant threshold if you have matching funds?
Yeah, I mean, the $11,000 per participant is, it's your request from Illinois Works. If you have matching funds or if you're leveraging any other type of funding to provide some other services, and that takes your cost per participant to $15,000, that's fine. The $11,000 is only relevant to Illinois Works. Is what we will pay on average to our grantees.
Okay, thank you. There are no other questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Moving on to section 4, application and submission information. This section provides specific information regarding the submission of your grant application, including where forms can be found and how to contact the Deputy Director of Illinois Works, Norman Ronald. That happens to be me. Additionally, this section informs you of the list of items that must be included in your application packet when it comes to be submitted and funding restrictions. All application materials must be submitted by September 1, 2025 by 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I want to emphasize this, September 1st, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you must use the Smartsheet form linked in the NOFO document in this section. So in this section, you will find the link that you need to use in order to submit your application. Here's very important, okay? DCEO cannot accept any application materials via email or through a link, a Google or a Dropbox link. We will not accept any applications via that way. We will only accept applications if you follow the process, which is the Smartsheet form that is linked in the document. There's the link was provided for you in this section. Please use that. When you submit your application, how do you know if we receive your application? You will be asked if you want a copy of the application. There's a form, the Smartsheet form that you're filling out. And when it's asked you if you want a copy, you need to respond yes. And then you'll be prompted to add your email address. You will then receive a copy of the application submission, which serves as a confirmation of the receipt of your application by DCEO. So when you say that, you click submission, and then the submission comes through to us. When we receive the submission, you immediately receive an email that provides a receipt for you indicating that we received your application. You will find the application and submission information on page 19 of the NOFO supplement, but it's very important again that you follow the instructions on how to submit the application. This section also outlines the notice of intent to apply. Now, the notice of intent to apply, according to our NOFO, was to be submitted on August 8th, the 8th at 5 p.m. It is not a requirement, but we were requesting if you were planning to apply to please let us know. If you did not submit a notice of intent, you can still submit an application. We were just trying to get a handle on an idea for planning for evaluation purposes on who was planning to submit an application. So that's section D of the NOFO supplement. Any questions, Carlita?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Moving on to section E, application review information. There are multiple criteria that applicants must meet under the NOFO, including but not limited to the applicant capacity, documentation of need, project quality and integration, and cost effectiveness and return on investment. In a minute, we'll discuss what the scores are for each of those, but on page 25 of the NOFO supplement, you'll find that information. Expected outcomes and deliverables. Applications will be graded using the merit review process and score based on the following criteria. Applicant capacity is 25% of the score. Documentation of need is 25% of the score. Project quality and integration is 30% of the score. Cost effectiveness and return on investment is 20% of the score. So, you know, when people were asking about the $11,000, that's where evaluators will look at that under cost effectiveness. Did you propose something, services that are $11,000 or less, or an average 11,000, or something that is 20,000 or $30,000 per participant? That's part of item number 4, which is cost effectiveness and return on investment. Additional details regarding the merit review criteria can be found on section E1 of the NOFO. The department will designate an evaluation committee to grade each application received for this funding opportunity. Grants will be awarded and funding levels will be determined per application based on its alignment with the requirements of this NOFO. Please keep in mind that the evaluation committees that evaluate these applications are independent evaluators. They are not Illinois Work staff. There are only a handful of DCEO staff that get involved in doing the evaluation, and they are not part of our department. They're part of other departments within DCEO. The majority of evaluators are outside independent evaluators that do the evaluation. Based on the review, applicants may be selected to enter into negotiations with the goal of arriving at acceptable grant terms, including budgetary and scope of work provisions, at which time the final decision to make a grant award will be made. If you score high enough on your application, we may enter into negotiations with your organization, trying to arrive at reasonable terms in terms of the budget and also the scope of work. Only if we're able to arrive at reasonable terms will our director, and our director is the equivalent of the Secretary of Commerce for the state, make a decision to issue a grant. She is the only one that has the authority to make decisions about grants. Our evaluators and us only make recommendations after we do negotiations, but we do not approve any of these applications for funding. And another key thing that is mentioned in this section on page 27, if the anticipated timeline for when we will notify grantees or when the grant is supposed to be activated changes, we will notify all the applicants of the new timeline as soon as possible. Any questions before we move to section F, Carlita?
Okay, it looks like someone mentioned, Melissa says, if it's been covered, she's apologizing. But it says, if I have an older participant who does not have their GED or high school diploma, can they still be served? Or can we partner with a GED provider to qualify that participant?
Yeah, no, this funding opportunity is only to serve individuals that are 18 years of age or older, residents of the state of Illinois that have a high school GED or a high school certificate or a GED, a high school diploma or GED certificate. If anybody, and we will discuss that as part of the program requirements, if anybody comes to your program that do not have a high school diploma or GED certificate, you can certainly refer them to a GED program. The state runs over 70 different free GED programs located throughout the whole state of Illinois. They can go there and they can come back to your program once they have a GED certificate, but we are not able to serve through this funding opportunity individuals that do not have a high school diploma or GED certificate.
Okay, Melissa says, thank you for that. And the next question is, what is the service period for the grant?
Service period, the grant, and that's part of what we will cover in a minute, but it goes from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. That's the grant period.
Very good. And then I have another question from Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Some of the application documents on the DCEO website under applicant documents have track changes.
Can you please mention specifically what documents those are? If you could please mention those specifically, we will address those.
Work plan, sample, curriculum, and staffing plan.
The attachments. If you could please, someone, either Edwin or Monica, if you could please take note of that and take a look at that, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Carrie. There are no other questions in the chat.
Okay, moving on to Section F, Administrative Award Administrative Information. This section provides information related to a notice of state award. A NOSA is a document. If the evaluators recommend that you get funding and then we go through a negotiation process and successfully negotiate with your organization, and our director approves funding for your organization, you will receive a notice of state award, just a NOSA. That is a document that needs to be signed before we can issue a grant agreement. So this section covers that. It also covers the administrative national policy requirements, including information on subrecipients and subcontractors, grant uniform requirements and procurement requirements. There's also a section here on reporting, something to keep in mind, and this is on page 27 of the NOFO supplement. Something to keep in mind that's very important is that besides a PPR, which is called the periodic program report, and the periodic financial reports, monitoring and audits, you are also required to use the Illinois Works reporting system. We will talk about that in a minute, but this is all covered on page 27 of the NOFO supplement. So what is the Illinois Works reporting system? So the Illinois Works reporting system, it's a system that all grantees are required, in addition to their financial and programmatic reports, are required to report, and this is real-time reporting of your grant activities using this platform. IWRS is a database designed for the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, and it tracks all programmatic and participant information. You can find information about IWRS on page 29. It's very important for you to know that when you submit a proposal, and when we talk about your staffing plan, one of the positions there is a data entry person. It's very important that you have the capacity to submit real-time data through Illinois Works. That's the only way we accept programmatic data, and it requires for you to track enrollments, completions, attendance, stipend payments, you name it, certifications. Documents have to be uploaded. A lot of information that has to be uploaded into IWRS, but that's the only way we accept programmatic data for Illinois Works. Again, this information in IWRS is located on page 29 of the NOFO supplement. Any questions?
Okay, there are no questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Section G of the NOFO supplement, state awarding agency contacts. Once again, this is just providing information on who you can contact. If you have questions specifically about the NOFO, you can contact me. I'm the person named there. My contact information is provided there. Page 29 of the NOFO supplement has that information. Moving on to section H, other information if applicable. The Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity in the Office of Illinois Works reserves the right to request additional information from applicants to evaluate their applications. A DCEO grant manager may contact applicants to request information with a quick turnaround, generally 48 hours, to resolve technical questions, including technical or administrative clarifications, missing or incomplete components, technical transmission errors. This information is on page 29 of the NOFO supplement, and I want to emphasize here that this is a very quick turnaround. So if a grant manager from DCEO contacts you and says, in order for us to evaluate your application, we need you to address this or that, you need to respond to us immediately, because otherwise we won't be able to move your application for evaluation. So it's very important that you respond as quickly as possible when you and if you receive any communication directly from a grant manager at DCEO. There's also other information here in this section of the NOFO supplement. In some of that information is related to the NOFO technical assistance, which is what we're delivering right now. Performance-based payment model, and I want to emphasize this. Illinois Works is a performance-based payment model. Our performance-based payment model is rooted in the belief that grant funding should be based on grantees' tangible impact on the community they serve. Illinois Works and DCEO drive to produce real change has led to the institution of a performance-based payment model in combination with reimbursement models. Metrics are used to dictate the amount of available for reimbursement for grantees. Grantees must then submit financial reports for allowable expenses to access their funding. I really encourage you to join the webinar we're delivering next Tuesday at 9:30 on our performance-based payment model. We will go over all the details on how the model works, how grantees are reimbursed, but it's important to emphasize that we operate only and exclusively with a performance-based payment model. This section also contains information about renewals and grant modifications, and also technical assistance and professional development. For more information about the Illinois Works reimbursement model, I already mentioned about the webinar. One important thing to emphasize is that Illinois Works operates with a strong belief in developing the capabilities of our grantees. Grantees must attend technical assistance and/or training sessions throughout the year with Illinois Works staff. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program offers a robust virtual onboarding professional development series at the beginning of the program period. Both in January and February, all grantees are required to go through onboarding professional development training. And their staff is also required to attend. Applicants must also budget for instructors to attend training and certification classes. In addition to ongoing technical assistance and professional development training, grantees will have the opportunity to garner additional support from program coaches contracted by the Office of Illinois Works. Depending on the grantee and their capacity, coaching may be required. On page 29, you'll find that information. We run coaching programs contracted through the Workforce Lab at NIU at Northern Illinois University. We, in fact, have 3 of those coaches here today with us, Jeff, Gia, and Carlita. And their responsibility is to ensure that if grantees need coaching in order to develop capabilities, that coaching is delivered. And depending, we conduct a needs analysis where a particular grantee's needs are, you may be required to attend coaching on a monthly basis. The other key part of what we're going to be covering today is the program requirements. There's a whole section that we mentioned earlier about program requirements. We will now revisit the program requirements that are listed on page 8 through 14 of the NOFO supplement. And this is really the heart of the matter when it comes to Illinois Works and what is required in terms of your proposals and in terms of programming. But before I move on to the program requirements, do we have any questions, Carlita?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, good. I think we're doing good timing here. We're at 11:31. We have about an hour left. I think this is enough time for us to cover all the program requirements. So let's start with the overall program design. You must detail how you will design, develop, and implement high-quality pre-apprenticeship programs that significantly increase apprenticeship opportunities for historically underrepresented populations. Our focus through the Illinois Works Jobs Program Act is women, people of color, and veterans. And I want to emphasize something here that is very, very important. You know, this is not just a training program. The main focus of Illinois Works is to transition individuals to DOL registered apprenticeship programs. We are not here just to recruit people, to train them, to certify them. Our main focus is transitioning people to DOL registered apprenticeship programs. Our performance-based model is based on that. We pay higher reimbursements for transitioning people than we pay for completion, than we pay for enrolling people, because ultimately Illinois Works only exists to be able to do that. Our goal and our strategic focus is to give people careers in construction and the trades, and they will only be able to get careers if they're able to transition to DOL registered apprenticeship programs where they can make careers as electricians or plumbers or carpenters or operators. It is not just to train them and recruit them, it is to transition them. That's the main goal. This must include how you will coordinate and staff or program activities, including recruitment, assessment, case management, related technical training, work-based training, supportive services, and more importantly, transitioning and placement of participants into DOL registered apprenticeship programs. So when it comes to the overall program design, some of the key questions that you want to ask your program is, how far along are you and your team with respect to your program design? Do you have a good program design to address these items? What do you perceive to be particular areas of strength or uniqueness of your program? Is it your program unique because you're a community college and you already have, the training in place? Is it your program unique because you already have strengths in relationships with DOL registered apprenticeship programs? But these are some of the key questions you might ask yourself when it comes to program design. Let's talk about staffing. Staffing is very, very important for Illinois Works. To fully implement the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program, successful applicants must outline how the 8 key program areas will be staffed to ensure quality delivery of programs and services, including, these are some of the key areas that you need to address. Program administration. Who's the program administrator? We need an administrator to be able to relate to, for our grant managers to relate to, send vital information to, address concerns uh, with quality, address concerns with compliance, and a variety of other things. Also, outreach and recruitment. Who's doing the outreach and recruitment? Who's doing the intake? Who's doing the wraparound services, which are non-academic needs? Who's doing the student support services, which are academic needs? Who's doing the instruction? What instructors you have? What are they certified in? Who's doing the transition and follow-up? This year, we're requiring that programs have a dedicated person. If you're applying for a full grant above $300,000, from $300,000 to $550,000, you need to have a full-time transition and follow-up person. If you're applying for a grant that is less than that, you can have a person that is spending less than full-time on transition and follow-up, but you need to have a dedicated person doing that. And also, who's doing data entry? As I mentioned, you will be required to enter data real time in IWRS in order to succeed in this program. All of those areas need to be outlined in your attachment 4, which is the staffing plan that we have already discussed, and we will discuss later on a little bit more in depth. You also need to attach to your attachment 4, the staffing plan, staff resumes, instructor credentials. If you are going to be delivering any of those services through a partnership, include partnership agreements or any memorandums of understanding that you may have with organizations or partners in order to fulfill those staffing requirements. Any questions, Carlita?
We have a question that came in. This is from Tiffany. Does the staff person providing instruction, for example, in NCCER, need to be certified at the time of the application?
That's a good question. Ideally, the person is already certified. If they are not certified, indicate when and how they're going to get certified. NCCER is a complex system. So if you're going to be using NCCER and someone is not certified, you got to make sure that you are choosing someone that fulfills the requirements that we have in our grantee manual. Edwin mentioned earlier the 2025 grantee manual. That's also included on the NOFO landing page. Review that. We have an ideal profile for an instructor that these instructors need to meet. So I would encourage you to indicate on the application how they're going to be certified and if they meet that ideal profile. Any other questions, Carlina?
Okay, I think that was the last question. Thank you.
Given the populations that we serve, that we're focused on serving, veterans, women, people of color, including also significant portions of rural whites that are also served by some of our providers and that are also um, a focus of our program. I would encourage you to really focus your program on the equity culture that we emphasize at Illinois Works. You must be able to articulate your understanding of how race, ethnicity, and gender impact access to and experience within the construction and the building trade apprenticeship programs. Explain how the pre-apprenticeship model that you're proposing responds to the unique needs of women, people of color, and veterans, including recruitment, enrollment, completion, partnerships, training, hiring, advancement, retention, earnings. Applicants should outline strategies on how to foster a shared identity and a welcoming and inclusive environment. Illinois Works was intentionally designed to increase equity and opportunity in capital construction jobs. Its focus on equity goes beyond numerical participation targets and focuses on all aspects of program design and partnerships. Um, some of the questions you may ask yourself in relation to this area is how much experience do you have serving the population your program plans to target? That's important because obviously we want to make sure that the target populations come in, they feel welcome and they feel included in these programs and ultimately in construction and the trades. Another question you may ask: what strategies do you plan to leverage to ensure an equity focus in this program? Any questions, Carlita, before moving on?
There are no questions in the chat, Norman.
Another key area to consider for your program design is the DIBE and core values that we emphasize at Illinois Works. Illinois Focus on Equity is complemented by a comprehensive quartet, including diversity, inclusion, belonging, and equity. Each of these are embedded in the Illinois Works culture through their core values. So the core values that we drive is overcoming barriers, empower for resilience and self-sufficiency, impact through outcomes, innovate persistently, build a community of collaboration, and maximize differences. So all of these core values are key to the culture of Illinois Works, and we look to see that embedded in each of our programs and how they're driving these values with the participants that join our grantees programs. The application should demonstrate your alignment with these principles and core values. More information on the core values is available on the 2025 Illinois Works Grantee Manual in Section 2. So as I mentioned, on the landing page, you will find our Grantee Manual, our 2025 Grantee Manual, Section 2 of that manual provides more information about our core values in DIBE. Any more questions, Carlita, before I move on to partnerships?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, as you would understand, the complexity of Illinois Works in with the goal of creating career opportunities for community members, not just jobs, but career opportunities require that our grantees partner with a variety of different players in their communities. So you must coordinate with local workforce innovation areas, local and regional apprenticeship navigators, intermediaries focused on construction and the building trades, DOL registered apprenticeship programs, be it union or not union, in your communities, union groups, community colleges, employers and employer associations, community-based organizations, secondary school, among others. Your application needs to really demonstrate your ability to partner with the key players in your communities because it is very difficult to successfully create these opportunities for community members unless those partnerships are in place. It is an expectation that all applicants develop structured pathways in partnership with key stakeholders in the industry for their pre-apprenticeship program graduates to transition successfully into DOL registered apprenticeship programs. Partnerships must be part of your program design. Your application must include your partnerships validated by a memo of understanding signed by all parties. Again, a memo of understanding is not just a document you submit saying, this is who I plan to partner with. We're interested in seeing memos of understanding of partnerships that are already in place and that can be documented through those memos of understanding. For more information, consider attending the Developing Partnerships webinar that we're going to be delivering this Thursday. That information is being shared for you right now in the chat. Again, Thursday, August 2021 from 9:30 to 12:30. You can go there to the link that is being provided at the bottom of the page. You'll be given an opportunity to register and enroll for that webinar. Some of the key engagement questions that you may want to consider for this particular component of our program design is, what current partnerships do you have to support the successful pre-apprenticeship program? What additional partnerships do you plan to cultivate to ensure a successful pre-apprenticeship program? And as I said, these programs are only successful if they're done successfully with other key community partners in your area. Another key element of our program design is outreach and recruitment. Your program must outline proactive recruiting, outreach, and support strategies that significantly increase the number of underrepresented populations that enroll in and successfully complete your pre-apprenticeship program. Your strategy must acknowledge race and gender disparities in regional construction and building trades occupations. Applicants do not need to serve all populations targeted by this NOFO. They can focus on one or more of the underrepresented populations, including women, people of color, and veterans. Applicants must understand and communicate union and non-union DOL registered apprenticeship program requirements to program candidates. Additionally, you're required to create a plan for marketing, outreach, wraparound supports, and accommodations. Here's a very important point that I will make. Illinois Works is not designed for individuals interested in being chefs or working in manufacturing or working in aerospace or healthcare. Those are all great fields and they should be supported to enter those fields. But Illinois Works is strictly designed for individuals that want to make a career in construction and the trades. This is not to explore if construction is really what I want to do. This is for those individuals that want to go in construction. This is focused on ensuring that those individuals that want to go into construction and the trades have the support, they have the training, they have the resources necessary to do so and make a career in those fields. So I want to emphasize that because at times we get applications for people to explore if they want to do this or not, or for people to, later on consider if they want to go into a different field. That's not what Illinois Works is for, okay? This is exclusively for people that want to make a career in construction and the trades. One of the key engagement questions that you may want to ask yourselves here when it comes to your proposal is, what potential outreach and recruitment strategies might you consider to attract qualified participants from your target populations? And again, qualified participants are not only those that meet the eligibility criteria, but those that really want to make a career in construction and the trades. That's really who we're focused on serving here. There are a lot of qualified people that will meet the eligibility criteria, but they want to do something else, and that's great. And they can certainly find other programs that can support them to do that, but this is only for people that want to make a career in construction and the trades. Any questions, Carlita, before we move on to the next component here of our program design?
No, we're all good. No questions in the chat.
Thank you, Carlita. Delivery of other instruction. Your program must provide plans to refer students who do not have the minimum program requirements to educational services in their respective communities, including free literacy, GED, ESL classes, among others. Your plans must include how applicants' barriers to program entrance and success will be assessed. Your plan should include strategies for removing barriers for underrepresented groups. As someone else already asked before, if someone is interested but they do not meet the minimum requirements, then they should be referred to other services in their communities. Follow up with them 6 months, 3 months later, 9 months later. Did they get their GED certificate? If they had any other requirements that they didn't meet, like for instance, they must be Illinois residents in order to participate. And this is very important, particularly for programs that operate with other border states, you know, bordering with Indiana, bordering with Wisconsin, bordering with Iowa, with Missouri. Individuals can only participate if they are Illinois residents. So if there are any barriers for them to meet the minimal eligibility requirements, you can certainly work with them. Our funding cannot be used for them to meet those minimum eligibility requirements, such as GED instruction or ESL instruction. Our funding can only be used specifically for the construction pre-apprenticeship program. Here's a key engagement question you may consider as you think of other instruction. What current partnerships and or program relationships do you have that can assist with literacy, GED, ESL, or other necessary services for them to be able to apply and get accepted into your program? Next one, application and intake. Successful applicants will outline a process to review candidates' eligibility for your pre-apprenticeship program, including pre-screening assessment, application, interviews, participant enrollment, wraparound services, and support services. Grantees will be required to utilize Illinois Works provided pre-screen assessments, applications, interview questionnaires, wraparound service assessments, and commitment agreements. So as you think about how you will do that, keep in mind that there are all kinds of required documents you have to use. I mentioned earlier about the Illinois Works reporting system. That's where you will find the pre-screen assessments, the applications, the interview questionnaires need to be uploaded there. So IWRS is the key place where all of those documents are found, and you'll be required to use those Illinois Works provided documents. Now, going back to the eligibility criteria, I want to emphasize participants must be at least 18 years of age when they enrolled into the program, not turn 18 while enrolled in the program. They must be 18 years of age in order for them to enroll into the program, unless they are attending an Illinois Works approved school-based pre-apprenticeship program. As I mentioned earlier, if you're applying for a school-based pre-apprenticeship program, you have to indicate that on your application, and you should be either a high school yourself, a school district, or partnering with a school district or a high school, and you must have documentation showing that partnerships. Individuals must also have a high school diploma or GED certificate, unless again they're attending an Illinois Works approved school-based pre-apprenticeship program. If they are attending one of those programs, and if you are proposing to run one of those programs, those individuals must be 18 years of age and must have a high school diploma by the time they finish the pre-apprenticeship program. They must also be an Illinois resident. Candidates must be interested in pursuing career in construction or the building trades. Remember, again, I emphasized that before, and here it is again. If they meet all of the other criteria, but they're not interested in pursuing career in construction or the building trades, they should not be accepted. They should not enroll in our program. This program is exclusively for individuals that are interested in career. And again, it's not just a job, it's a career. It's a long-term career in construction in the building trades. Any question before we talk about wraparound supports, Carlita?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Wraparound supports. Your program must provide a plan for assisting pre-apprentice participants with an overcoming non-academic barriers to successful program completion. Allowable program costs may include, but are not limited to, the following: financial literacy, referrals for housing, mental health services, child care and family member care, transportation, um, gas cards, bus train passes, car repairs, etc., driver's education fees, emergency bill payment, digital literacy, other costs that create an obstacle for participants. Something key to keep in mind, our grantee manual, the 2025 grantee manual has a whole section on wraparound supports, what's pre-approved. Whenever services are needed that are not pre-approved, they can submit a request to their programmatic grant manager to approve a particular wraparound service that may be needed. And if it's approved, then it can be delivered by the grantee. We have a very robust and very generous wraparound service support system so that we address all the needs of our participants. And again, these are individuals interested in entering construction in the trades. And if we can help them address those barriers, we'll be more than happy to do so. And we do that on a daily basis. Some of the key engagement questions that you may consider here is, based on the needs of your target populations, identify wraparound services. Have you identified any wraparound services that you think might be necessary for your program to provide? And when you think about wraparound services, think about not only what you yourself are able to provide, but more importantly, what can be provided by you and also in partnership with other providers in your community that may assist in providing some of these wraparound services. Any questions, Carlita, before we move on to stipends?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Stipends. Your program must provide stipends to pre-apprentice participants. This is an absolute requirement. It is stipulated by law in the Illinois Works Jobs Program Act. No program will be allowed to run without paying stipends to their program participant. And I want to emphasize this, and let's make sure we're all on the same page because this is very, very important. A stipend is a payment made to a participant for living expenses, unlike a salary or wages, which is paid to an employee. Though the terms stipend and salary are often used interchangeably, the U.S. Department of Labor has specific criteria that must be met to pay a stipend. And I want to emphasize, when it comes to Illinois Works, wages are not mentioned. We cannot use the word wages anywhere. We don't use it in our literature. We don't use it in our NOFO. We don't want you using it in your proposal. You're paying a stipend, which falls under the U.S. Department of Labor regulations of when a stipend must be paid. For the grant year beginning January 2026, stipend amounts can be up to $1,450 per training hour. Here again, $1,450 per training hour. So if you're proposing a program, a training program that is 200 hours of instruction, you will have to pay your participants up to $1,450 per instructional hour. Now, you may choose to pay less than that, but it needs to be reasonable given the needs in your communities, right? You cannot pay more than $1,450 per instruction hour. You can pay less than that. So your proposal needs to include a stipend, and you need to indicate how much you're going to be paying per instructional hour. Organizations should maintain a stipend rate that is aligned to match the regional economic conditions. To receive a stipend, the focus must be on training rather than employment. These are the requirements from the U.S. Department of Labor in order to pay a stipend. The training must be predominantly for the benefit of the pre-apprentice and cannot be connected to a job at the end of training. The pre-apprentices also displace regular employees. So these are all requirements. In this case, because they're not competing with any employees, this one wouldn't be relevant. A stipend is not considered wages, so Social Security or Medicare taxes are not withheld. However, a stipend is still taxable income for income tax purposes. So because you're not paying wages, you do not have to withhold Social Security or Medicare taxes. However, individuals must know that when they get paid a stipend, it's still taxable income, and they will have to obviously, once they file their taxes every year, they'll have to report those. But it's again very important to emphasize that we pay stipends, and grantees are required to pay a stipend, and not to use wage language or use wage type of processes and procedures here, because that's not required. Applicants that are offered and accept an award from the Office of Illinois Works are not to use wage language or make wage equivalences in any internal or external documentation or conversations regarding the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program. They can only use stipend language. Any questions about stipends, Carlita?
I do have a question in the chat. Is there a minimum or a maximum amount of training hours?
Yeah, in a minute we're going to be talking about training hours, but 183 hours is the minimum, and 300 hours is the maximum, unless you get special approval to run a program over 300 hours. We do not typically give approvals for programs over 300 hours. It's too long. This is a pre-apprenticeship program, which is preparation to enter a DOL registered apprenticeship program. So programs that are over 300 hours are excessive and not necessary in this environment. But we will discuss that more in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. There are no other questions.
Okay, great. Student support services. Your program must provide plans for assisting participants in maximizing their academic success and attaining the required certifications and credentials. Allowable program costs may include, but are not limited to, tutoring services. So when we talk about student support services, we're talking about academic needs, addressing a participant's academic needs, whereas wraparound services talks about addressing their needs in other areas such as transportation or daycare. Student support services is really about academic needs. Tutoring services are included, excuse me, and are also very important. A lot of individuals, particularly adults, may not have done a lot of testing, may not have reviewed their math skills, and they may need tutoring in those areas. So it's important that programs offer tutoring services. Retesting, sometimes they fail certain tests and they need to retest. Retesting needs to be made available to them. Makeup sessions for hours or for tests. Sometimes life gets in the way and they miss a class. We operate with very high attendance standards, so they have to make up certain sessions or make up certain hours. Other educational enrichments they may need, other student support services. So programs needs to demonstrate the ability to provide student support services, which are academic supports. One of the key questions for engagement here is, based on the needs of your target populations, identify the specific student support services you intend to offer. So knowing the population you intend to serve, think about what student support services they may need. Any questions before I move on to learning, Carlita?
Yes, I do have a few. Trying to see how this is worded. Harmony International Development here as a US DOL Rapids program. How would the stipend requirement compare to our apprenticeship program?
I'm really not understanding the question. I'm sorry. Can someone clarify, please?
Harmony, can you please open your mic and speak your question for us?
Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon. Thank you guys for having this webinar. It's very helpful. We're a registered Department of Labor apprenticeship program, but we're restructuring. We want to get into pre-apprenticeship as well. So I was just wondering, because the requirements are different in regards to stipend. But you answered my question while you were speaking. It would be a different pretty much a different maximum, which would be the 1450 that you mentioned. For apprenticeships, it's just a little bit higher, a little bit differently, but that's a completely different program. So no worries.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Yeah, obviously, our funding is not for DOL registered apprenticeship programs to run. Our funding is only for pre-apprenticeship programs that are preparing individuals to transition to
Right.
DOL registered apprenticeship programs, and that's where the stipends apply at 1450 up to 1450 per training hour, right? DOL registered apprenticeship programs have to operate with the US DOL regulations related to those. Ours is a different regulation system.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we have a few people that they don't really they're not eligible for apprenticeship just yet. So we're looking to get our wait list set up for pre-apprenticeship. That way they can get applicable training. That's why we're here. But thank you so much. I'll continue to listen on and take notes.
Okay, thank you.
There are
All right.
no other questions in the chat, Norman.
Okay, great. Let's talk about learning. Applicants must explain how they will coordinate education and learning necessary support and retention services and coaching from other partner institutions. Uh, we are also interested in applicants who will use innovative teaching and learning tools, including online or virtual learning, alternative reality or virtual reality, immersive training, and learning techniques, among others. Now, keep in mind, if you do propose to use some of these teaching methodologies, you really need to explain how that will support your graduates still getting the required certifications that they're required to get in our program. And I'll get into those in a minute. But just proposing to use virtual reality or alternative reality um, for this type of instruction without demonstrating how that's going to lead to them getting their certifications, it wouldn't be an effective way of using those methodologies. Um, so in terms of the engagement question here related to this, think about how do you, if you have previous experience developing or implementing a workforce development program. If so, what profession or trades you have developed those programs for, and who you've partnered with, which as I mentioned earlier, is very important. Now, when it comes to the curricula itself, this is something that was being asked earlier. Your submitted curriculum must provide at least 183 hours of instruction. In fact, in um, one of our attachments, the sample curriculum, you'll be able to see a sample curriculum that is 183 hours. You can see how we provided that sample there for you so that you can see how it was organized. And it should not exceed 300 hours of instruction. So at a minimum, it needs to be 183 hours. At a maximum, cannot be over 300 hours of instruction unless we approve for you to run a program over 300 hours. We have never approved for a program to run over 300 hours. You can certainly ask and we can look into it, but right now, all of our programs operate programs that are between 183 and 300 hours of instruction. I can tell you at 300 hour of instruction pre-apprenticeship program, it's hard to retain people in a program that is that long. Because again, pre-apprenticeship programs are in preparation for an apprenticeship program. If it's too long and if it takes too many hours for participants to complete it, you may run into retention issues. But that's just something for you to consider. Instruction should have a strong emphasis on hands-on practice in a construction laboratory and at job sites. So your curriculum, when you submit it, must include construction lab instruction. When they're going through their training, they must be able to do also hands-on in a construction lab. And at the end, they must also be doing job site instruction, real construction. We have programs that propose to work with public housing or affordable housing. There is an opportunity if you're not able to do that and instead you want to do tours of various trades and their trading operations, you can certainly do that. I'll mention more details in a minute about that, but our interest is to ensure that this is not just theoretical, but it's also very practical and skills based. So here are some of the key minimum requirements that you must include in your proposal. In Illinois Works program orientation, up to 4 hours. The orientation needs to definitely be included on your proposal. That's where participants learn about all the requirements. They sign a commitment agreement. They learn about attendance and performance requirements, all of that, and it takes a while to do that. Introduction to construction and the trades is also required. Construction certifications are required. Right now, there are 3 approved curricula that you can operate with. Trades Future MC3 is an approved one. That's a union-based curriculum. You can use the NCCER curriculum, or if you are a community college, you can use an ICCB approved curriculum. You can certainly propose a curriculum above and beyond the 3 that are approved here. However, um, any curriculum that you submit must be regionally recognized and based on construction industry best practices. We right now only operate with those 3 curricula that I mentioned: MC3, NCCR, or ICCB. We are willing to consider other curricula, but you need to make sure that it is a nationally recognized and based on construction best practices. The other certification that providers are required to provide to all participants, it's an OSHA 10-hour certification. Do not propose to give them an OSHA 30-hour certification. That is not necessary for this level of participants. An OSHA 10-hour certification is more than enough. And also a first aid CPR certification. Please, I want to emphasize here a um, infant first aid CPR certification will not do it. It needs to be the standard first aid CPR certification. You can certainly propose to do AAD also as part of the certification, although it's not required. We emphasize first aid and CPR because most job sites do not have AEDs. You can also propose other nationally recognized certifications. Sometimes we see people propose flagger certifications, although I will mention that you need to be very careful in providing flagger certifications, as most women are placed into flagger tracks in construction, and that job pays the least in construction, and we do not want to um, you know uh, just place women in flagger jobs in construction. That is not the focus of our program. Employability skills based on the Illinois Essential Employability Skills Framework is required 32 to 40 hours of instruction. The employability skills must include 4 hours of harassment prevention and 4 hours of diversity inclusion in construction. Um, Also, test taking skills 4 hours are required, and then work-based and job site learning 10 to 50 hours are required. More importantly, 40 hours of shop math are required. Applicants must submit a proposed curriculum outline including the hours, instruction modules offered, the length of training, and the logical plan for delivery. This you will do in attachment 3, which is the sample curriculum and the proposed curriculum. Um, and one of the key questions for engagement that you can ask yourself is, has your program begun to think about student credentials and certifications? If so, which credentials are you considering? Are you considering an MC3? Are you considering NCCR, ICCB? What is it exactly that you're considering? Any question before we go to work-based learning and practicums?
Yes, we have a question. If one of our major DOL apprenticeship partners prefers the OSHA 30, can we include OSHA 30 training?
Unfortunately, OSHA 30 would not be approved with the Illinois Works curriculum. Um, you would have to really, if you do get a grant and once your program is onboarded, you will really have to make a case for an OSHA 30. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never seen an OSHA 30 required by a DOL registered apprenticeship program for anybody to enter their programs. They typically provide that instruction themselves at the DOL registered apprenticeship program if that's what they want um, their apprentices to have. But if you do get a grant, you will have to really propose that. We are not, um, we have never, none of our programs, 37, almost 40 programs right now, provide that instruction. It will be very unlikely that it will be approved, but if you do, we do give you an offer to receive a grant. You can make a case and we'll look into it. Any other questions, Carlita?
That was the last question. Thank you.
Okay, work-based learning and practicums. Your program must include opportunities for pre-apprentices to do construction work at job sites while taking instruction or immediately after completing instruction. Job site practicums are generally supervised by program instructors and are coordinated with community-based organizations, contractors, or government entities that give opportunities to students to put into practice what they've learned in the classroom. Again, attachment 3, the sample curriculum and the proposed curriculum is where you can certainly go and include that information. Your program should outline existing or planned partnerships for work-based learning and practicum work sites. Successful applicants will provide 10 to 50 hours or work-based learning. And as I mentioned earlier, the ideal is for these individuals to have an opportunity to do hands-on construction. If for technical reasons you are not able to provide the hands-on learning experience, job site visits and tours of DOL registered apprenticeship programs may be allowed. You have to propose in your proposal an alternative as a replacement for the job site training that is required as part of our system. For in terms of engagement questions, what partnership does your program have with construction companies, government agencies, or other entities that can make job sites available for work-based learning for your students? Any questions before we move on to transition and follow up, Carlita?
I do have a question. Are MOUs needed with practicum and with RAPs?
Um, if you are going to be doing a job site um, at a particular company or a particular um, I don't know, partnership with a nonprofit organization, Habitat for Humanity or affordable housing, yes, you would have to submit an MOU. DOL Registered Apprenticeship Programs is a little different because uh, DOL Registered Apprenticeship Programs, if you're going to go and do a tour or if you're going to go do a site visit, it may really be dependent on when you're able to do that in the year, how far they are from your facility. So that may be a little different. If you're able to secure an MOU with them to be able to demonstrate that you can do a tour at their facility, that would be great. Um, but it's more important if you're going to be doing actual job site instruction with a contractor or with a government entity or with a nonprofit organization that those are demonstrated because there is risk associated. I mean, we need to make sure that is the appropriate place where the students are going, and that's the reason why those MOUs will be important.
Okay.
Any other questions, Carlita?
I do have another question. How is insurance concerns managed for work-based learning?
You will need to have, in order to run your program, you will need to have an insurance policy that covers your program, both in your classroom, your construction laboratory, and for job site instruction. Typically, you can get an insurance policy that as long as it's job site instruction and is part of your program, that will be considered, that will be covered under the insurance policy that you're also using for your classroom instruction.
Okay, thank you. There are no other questions.
Okay, great. Transition and follow-up. Your program must provide plans on how it will assist participants in transitioning to USDOL registered apprenticeship programs, including connecting them to employers and unions. You must also include plans for referring participants that do not enroll into apprenticeship programs into advanced construction education and training programs and other employment. Additionally, applicants should outline how they will follow up with participants beyond program completion, at least on a quarterly basis for a period of 1 year. So let me just emphasize, and I think it's very important here, and I said it before, the main focus of our program is transitioning individuals to DOL registered apprenticeship programs. In fact, we call that a primary transition. We do recognize that sometimes individuals in their interviews, in their applications, say, yes, I want to be a construction, I want to work in construction. And then while they're going through the training, they may change their minds and say, no, I want to do solar now, or no, I want to be in manufacturing. So if they change their mind while they were in the program, there's a career assessment they'll have to do at the beginning of the program, and they have to do another career assessment before they finish. And it's documented that they change their mind, they want to do something different. You can certainly provide support to them, and you actually will be required to provide support for them to transition to those other options. And you can still get paid for a secondary transition. We do not pay those at the same level that we pay primary transitions, but you can get paid. But it's important to keep in mind that an individual needs to be tracked after they complete your program. Let's assume they finish your program and they went into a DOL registered apprentice program, or finish your program and then went into college to study something else. You would still be required to track them at least on a quarterly basis and provide updated information on IWRS. There's a questionnaire that you have to use in IWRS to follow up with them to be able to track them. So that has to be done on a quarterly basis for up to 1 year after they finish your program.
I do.
Yes,
So normally we have another question. Can we use grant funds to cover the insurance costs?
yes, you can certainly use grant funds to cover that. So in terms of engagement questions that you would consider here for this section is, what partnerships, relationships, and or programs do you have to assist with transition services? As I mentioned, our model really focuses on transitioning. You have to really show that you have strong partnerships, that you have strong relationships to be able to make these transitions happen. We do not exist to enroll and train people and certify them. That's only the first step. Our real ultimate goal is providing those transition services to your graduates. In fact, all of our grantees are required to be part of a community of practice. It's called a transitions community of practice. They meet on a monthly basis, discuss how they're doing on their transitions, share experiences. We provide resources when different programs are opening that they can apply to. But it's a very structured part of Illinois Works transitioning. It's a vital component of our system. Um, Outcome measures. The primary goal, as I mentioned earlier, of Illinois Works, the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, is to significantly increase apprenticeship opportunities for historically underrepresented populations. Achievement at this goal will be evaluated by DCO and the Illinois Works Review Panel, which is responsible for reporting on programs annually to the General Assembly. You should know that we have a review panel that is the majority of members of the review panel are appointed by the governor or the General Assembly. Most of them are elected officials. There are also community members that are part of the review panel. And we have to inform them on a quarterly basis through meetings what's going on with Illinois Works. And they also have to issue a report to the General Assembly on an annual basis indicating how our programs are doing and our how we're achieving different outcome measures. We have to also publish on an annual basis reports for all of our grantees to the public, and We include a description of how the grantee did their recruitment, their screening, and their training, the number of individuals that applied to, participated in, and completed the program. We have to report that by race, gender, age, veteran status, um, and also we have to indicate who applied or was accepted into DOL register apprenticeship programs. Um, so it's very important that you keep in mind that there's a lot of focus on Illinois Works at the state level, and we have to report on all the outcome metrics. That's the reason why our model operates the way it operates. Successful applicants will demonstrate how they will build a recruitment, screening, and training program that will lead to 85% of enrollees successfully completing the program. So those are the metrics that programs are measured against. 85% complete the program, 70% of those that enroll transition to a DUL registered apprenticeship program. Your program will be required to outline their plan to collect and track data related to outcome measures by completing attachment 2, which is the participant demographics and outcomes summary. In terms of the engagement questions you may want to consider is, do you have a dedicated individual accountable for data collection and statistical analysis? If not, what is your staffing plan to ensure data collection and entry? As I mentioned, all the information needs to be entered in IWRS, and we keep track of that information real time as we do compliance reporting on a monthly basis, but also do reports to our review panel and the General Assembly. Any questions before I move on to the next section, Carlita?
No, there are no questions in the chat.
Just again, to emphasize data tracking, your program will be required to utilize the Illinois Works reporting system. IWRS is a reporting platform and workforce development program management tool used to track grantee performance and progress toward negotiated outcome measures. Data entry is expected to take place in real time, with data verification taking place at the end of each business week. All programs should plan to have a dedicated data entry coordinator responsible for data entry and integrity. The data is used by DCO to verify compliance progress and to create required reports for the Illinois Works Review Panel and the Illinois General Assembly. More importantly, it allows the Office of Illinois Works to conduct longitudinal evaluations to verify and document the impact of the program on enrollees in the state of Illinois. So we are very data driven. We verify every piece of data that is entered in our system to make sure that what is being entered is correct. And so that when we issue reports, report on to the 2025 grantee manual. I've mentioned this document before. You will find it on the website. In the chat, we're also providing a link right now for you to access our 2025 grantee manual. You can find more information about Illinois Works performance-based model, as well as the other critical program requirements in the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program 2025 grantee manual. Again, it's already in the chat for you to download if you're interested. Illinois Works has provided grantees a 2025 grantee manual as a resource for instructions, guidance, tools, and expectations for program design, implementation, and delivery. This valuable resource provides detailed information regarding program completion, transition services, and follow-up services. To understand program expectations, please reference the manual. Please keep in mind that the 2026 grantee manual will be published with relevant updates in January of next year. We publish a grantee manual every single year for that program year. We update it for a few months based on guidance changes or recommendations from our grantees. And then the manual gets published in January of the program year. And that's the manual that grantees will use until the end of the program. Any questions regarding the grantee manual?
No questions are in the chat.
Okay, we're almost at the end of the time here. I will go and mention some particular items related to the attachments, um, and then mention a couple of items related to the resources at the end of the NOFO, and then move it on to Jeff to do an evaluation. So I mentioned earlier there are 4 attachments. Attachment 1, which is the proposed work plan. Attachment 2, which is the participant demographics and outcome summary. Attachment 3, which is the sample curriculum and proposed curriculum. And attachment 4, which is the staffing plan. For the proposed work plan, this attachment gives you the opportunity to communicate your outcome metrics in Table A and instruction information in Table B. You'll be required to mention a variety of different things, how you're going to do recruitment, enroll participants, how many participants you're going to complete, also metrics related to transitioning um, to either primary transition, alternative construction transition, or secondary transitions. This work plan must be included with your NOFO. It's very important that if you have any questions, there are instructions on how to fill out this particular attachment. Any questions about the proposed work plan?
There are no questions.
Okay, great. Moving on to attachment 2, participant demographics and outcome summary. This attachment gives you the opportunity to communicate your target participant demographics and your intended outcomes regarding um, the number of enrollees, the service delivery for enrolled participants, program completion, and then also your transitions. Um, the participant demographic and outcome summary must be included with your NOFO. Do you have any questions about this particular attachment?
No questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Moving on to attachment 3, sample curriculum and proposed curriculum. To further assist you, we have provided a sample curriculum to demonstrate content expectations and the level of detail required along with the curriculum template. This attachment has a variety of different areas that you need to fill out. You once again need to include this with your application to be considered. And if you have any questions about the about this particular attachment, please enter them in the chat or unmute your line. Any questions, Carlita?
No, there are no questions.
Okay, great. Staffing plan, this is a very important document, as I mentioned earlier. This is where you will indicate who will be performing the various tasks required for your program. Keep in mind again that the transition service coordinator is now you're required to have a dedicated person to do that. You'll find more information in the NOFO supplement about the specifics. If you do have partnerships that will cover some of these roles, please indicate that and also provide the MOUs for those organizations. This attachment must also be included with your application. Any questions about attachment 4?
No questions in the chat.
Okay, great. So funding information, I have mentioned what the funding expectations are, when it needs to be submitted. The program year for this funding opportunity is January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. Please make sure you submit your application following the format that is specified in the NOFO supplement. Again, the application needs to be submitted using the Smartsheet form that is being provided. We are now pasting the Smartsheet form in the chat for you. If you want to just save that link, that's the link that you need to use to submit your application. Again, just a reminder, we will not accept applications via email or in Google Drives or Dropbox. You can only submit an application using the Smartsheet form, and it needs to be submitted to us September 1st, 2025 by 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please note that the department is under no obligation to review applications that do not comply with the above requirements. As I mentioned earlier, 4 evaluation criteria that we're going to be using, including the applicant capacity, 25%, documentation of need, 25%, project quality and integration, 30%, cost effectiveness, and return on investment is 20%. Any questions about the evaluation criteria?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay. There are a variety of resources that we have included in the NOFO. Resources for competitive applications, resources and best practices for pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. There's also resources and national best practices for equity pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. That's all on pages 32 and 33 of the NOFO supplement. There's also a section on references and resources. You can read through that on page 30. Definitions of the Illinois Works Jobs Program Act, acronyms used in the NOFO, resources for competitive applications, and a variety of other things. I want to emphasize again about the webinars that are coming up. We have um, a couple of webinars that have already been delivered. You can find the recordings on the NOFO website, but for you, we encourage you to join the performance-based payment model webinar taking place on Tuesday the 26th, and also the partnerships webinar taking place on this week, August 21st, on Thursday. You can go to the bottom of the page and be able to find where you can enroll for those webinars. If you're unable to attend, as I said, there'll be a recording available. Typically takes between 3 to 5 business days for that recording to be available on that same website. In the same link where you enroll, it will be replaced by the recording link so that you could download the webinar in case you want to do that. Any final questions before I move it along to Jeff to conduct the evaluation of this webinar?
There are no questions in the chat.
Well, thanks again for joining us. I will now move it to Jeff for him to conduct the evaluation of the webinar. I appreciate your attendance and I hope you have a good day. Jeff, please take it over.
Well, thank you, Dr. Iwano. Thank you, Edwin, Monica, the presenters, everybody for putting this together. And for those that attended, we definitely want your feedback. So we're going to do a Mentimeter final evaluation using just like you did to start the webinar. Over in the right-hand side, if you're on your computer, you'll see a multimedia viewer window in your WebEx. And if you would click that, it'll open up the blue button there will open up to Mentimeter and to some questions we're going to go through. But if you're calling from a phone or tablet, you may want to use the QR code or the link that's going to be shared into the chat, and that way you could provide your feedback in that format. But we really want to hear from you. Please go ahead and enter those. And we're going to get started with our first question. What do you hope to get out of, well, no, that was the very first beginning. Here we go. Give me just a second here. All right. Please share your views on this meeting by rating the following statements from 1, the lowest, to 10, the highest. All right. So they don't always come in that order, but use the voting there. And if you would respond 1 to 10, and again, it's over in the multimedia viewer section. Use that code to sign in. You can go to menti.com 812-02107, and that'll get you right into our voting. Thank you for those that are responding. We got 33 on the call here, so I'd like to get as many of you as possible giving us this feedback. We put this on for you, and we again always look for ways to improve and get feedback on how we're doing. Our goal is to meet your needs, so this we really do care about this. Please go ahead and continue voting. We've gotten 7 into the votes already here. Get it up to 8. Let's keep going. Again, we covered a lot of great information. Hopefully you captured your emails and the links, and this recording is going to be available for you, but now's your chance to give us feedback. Okay, thank you for those that have responded already. Can you get any more here? We're going to move on to the next question. The meeting was relevant to what I wanted to learn about this subject matter. One is a strongly disagree, and a 5 is a strongly agree. So in this case, 5 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. We'd love to hear again. Was this meeting relevant to what you wanted to learn about the NOFO today? Is this what did you get out of it what you were expecting? Thank you for the response that's already come in. We've got a couple here. Please continue to respond and vote. Again, all feedback is welcome. We do use it to continually look to improve, and so we really value your honest assessment of our time and efforts today. Thank you for those that are voting. Please continue to vote. We have just a few questions, just a few more here, and then we'll be getting you on your way. All right, next up is I plan to apply what I learned today. From 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. 5 again being the highest. If you'd use vote on that. I plan to apply what I learned today. You're going to go out there and use this information to complete your NOFO. I hope you do, those that are out there. And I see some first and second strongly agree, strongly somewhat agree. Thank you for those that are responding. Really do appreciate it. Thank you. Jumping in here. All right, let's continue on. What improvements might you recommend? If you could recommend any changes to this NOFO webinar for future guests and that be a part of this program, would you have anything you'd recommend? You could put NA if there's nothing that you could think of. I tend to believe you can always come up with one thing, right, that we could improve. So we'd always appreciate your feedback on how we could get better. We do these webinars quite a bit, and we do it from professional development ongoing throughout the year, and we're always looking for our feedback. Thank you for those that are responding. I see. Again, what improvements might you recommend? 2 breaks, microphones for speakers. Awesome. Thank you very much. Quick reference guide over essential sessions. I like that. That's really cool. Was very organized, informative, maybe more examples and applications awarded. Awesome. Great. Thank you for that feedback. All right, let's take questions at the beginning to make sure they're answered in the presentation. Awesome. Thank you. Shorter session. Thank you. Appreciate that. Getting through it. Really do appreciate it. All right, let's move on. Next question. What did you find effective? If we made changes, what would you recommend we keep? Was there anything specific that jumped out at you that really stood out? You're like, man, that was awesome. I really was glad they put that in this webinar. Is there something like that? If you would just tag it, let us know here. Hey, this is one thing that you definitely should keep going forward. Like the different speakers. Thank you for that. Some definite thought was put into, that design to give you some variety from all the different presentations and the amount of content that we had. Any others that you recommend? We'd absolutely keep. Detailed slides help with the longer content. I liked being able to get answers to questions. Awesome. Yeah, I do too. Live webinars, not that common anymore. So it's nice that the state offers these for you to get you that speak right with the experts and get those answers. That's a really unique opportunity without having to schedule a meeting. So unique. Renewing the NOFO, keep the Mentimeters, stipends allowed experience is great. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next question. And this is the last one. Is there anything else about this course you think we should know? Just the last final comment of, is there anything else? Anything else you wanted to tell us? Anything else you think we need to know? This is your chance again, just to have that direct feedback with us. Now you got all the presenters, everybody here. NA or no, I don't think so. Hey, those are great, appreciated. If you have something, again, we do want to hear from you. We do this for you, and so our intent's to meet all your needs with these webinars. Having it earlier, appreciate in the application cycle would be helpful. Thank you for that, NA. Awesome. Comprehensive enough. Great. All right. Well, if you have continued feedback, you can provide that later. We'd always love to hear from you. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for your time and engaging with us into this content. And we appreciate you. And we hope that you take this information and do apply and become a part of our grant for next year. We'd love to see you in that. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.